disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed those fucking men.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Everybody, to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I'm glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we've got a fantastic one for you, because we've got a great card coming up the day after tomorrow on Thursday via Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got Stevenson taking on the mysterious and arcane Edwin de los Santos, and then on the undercard, we got El Vaquero, El Pistolero, Emmanuel Navarrete returns, taking on Robson Conceicao. He's fighting for the third time this year. And so these fights on paper are highly intriguing. And then we also got a couple of other fights on that undercard as well. And it's Thursday, so we don't have to wait until Saturday to enjoy these fights, fellas. Life is good. Life is good indeed for boxing fans right now. So before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way. You guys know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels on our way with the Super Chat feature, you're certainly welcome to do so. But it's better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck via special emojis, badges, the whole shebang. But the most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, and you spread that BDA gospel, all right? You spread it nice and wide. That's what you're supposed to do. But we don't ask for much. Just do that and hit the like. Hey, don't forget, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure. All right, fellas? Let's give a shout out to the apostles out there. I'm talking about Sam Rando 2023, Eparokua, Cloud Boxing, EBP, Shazar in the house as well, Super Sudonic, Fluffy Toasters 89, Quentin Lassiter, Mark, who else? The Gucci Berserk, Eddie Valenzuela, Pugilist Zine, Neil Simpson, SSC in the house. Shout out to SSC saying salute, fire, Protectorate General, Abner Ortega, Mars, Timothy Figueroa, Lobito in the house. Shout out to Gonzalo, Official Scorecard in the house as well. Shout out to Official, Soul Passive Live, Super Sudonic, TRA a son, I guess, and the Pugilizine, Rafael Garza in the house as well. Shout out to him. Says, Upset in the Air to the tune of Love is in the Air, sung by John Paul Young. Well, shout out to you fellas. And shout out to everybody who could be dropping by that I might have forgotten. But listen, fellas, we're going to get on with the show here. Like I said, this Thursday, we've got a fantastic card on our hands. And it's taking me back to the old days. The days before YouTube, before torrents, when you would hear about a fighter fighting overseas and you didn't really get to see much footage of him. And you could only wonder what this guy was all about. And you'd read about him in magazines and maybe in message boards if you were so inclined. And then finally one day they made it overseas and they fought. And it's almost the same thing here, except that it's the age of the internet. And yet we don't know much about Edwin de los Santos other than what we've seen in that very short fight that he had against Rayo Valenzuela. If you caught the Villa versus Ennis undercard, he fought there. He took on the always tough Joseph Adorno. And so, there's other than that, we don't have any footage of his one loss. And there's a lot of speculation about what happened that day. Also, there's a couple of clips of him fighting in the Dominican Republic early on in his career. But again, it's difficult to ascertain just where exactly he falls in line here. And so that's what's making it intriguing here. He seems to be confident. And I got Gonzalo dropping by here. Gonzalo, you there?
Hey, how's it going, Mr. BDA?
Doing fantastic. I hope you're doing fantastic as well. I don't know if you saw, but you were streaming the other day on your channel, and you said it was your birthday, and I left a couple of messages saying happy birthday. I don't know if you saw them, but if you didn't, happy belated birthday right at you, I should say there, Gonzalo, and many more to come. Gonzalo, what are your thoughts? Because you were talking about that fighter. Shakur Stevenson is the anointed one. He's being hailed as the next best thing. I argue that he's being overhyped not only by ESPN and Top Rank, which is their job, that's what they're supposed to do, but by the media and fans as well, because they say that nobody can beat him between 130 and 140. To me, that's being a little overrated considering he hasn't fought anybody of note at 135. But now he's fighting a guy who's got power, who's got speed, straight shots. He's a southpaw as well, and he's younger than Shakur Stevenson. What do you make of this fight, Gonzalo?
I think it's a tough test. You were mentioning, okay, well, there's not a lot of footage. So, in my opinion, I have to go off the one fight that we do have evidence when he beat Rayo Valenzuela and the highlights of the Adorno unanimous decision and basically off the eye test mainly.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, he's a southpaw. He's tall. I heard this in Spanish. He's like 1 or 2 centimeters shorter than Shakur, but he got an advantage in 5 centimeters in reach. So I don't know what's the equivalent to that in inches. So he's tall, he's fast, and he's powerful. I mean, Jesus, the guy got 14 fights with 12 knockouts, and that one lost against Foster. And that Foster dude looked tricky. Yeah, and Shakur a little bit overrated. 3 dominant performances, I would say, and 3 not so much. The one against Joet, the one against Conceicao, and can't quite recall the other one, but they were kind of like off. One he was low blowing, he made the Joet fight look boring. And Nakatila,
Mm-hmm.
he ran away from that dude. And it come to find out, Nakatila's been knocked out 2 times by 2 different guys, Tito Mercado and Murataya, just recently. So as soon as he felt a hard punch from that guy, he decided to run. So that wasn't a dominant win. But then the 3 other dominant wins that he had, he did very well, you would say. But against a shorter Valdez, who was a right-hander, I mean, when it's a lefty versus a righty, and I kind of understand this because I'm a lefty myself, and you're the taller guy, when you're facing a shorter righty and the feet are coming together, because that's what they say about Shakur, he establishes the distance. A lot of times it's with the feet. So once he establishes the distance with the feet, he can drop their hands. He's got good spacing and understanding of that space and distance, right, when he throws punches. So when the feet are touching and the shorter fighter has to leap in like Valdez was doing, and that fight, and you don't know where your foot's gonna land on once you cross that threshold where that dude's trying to hold you off with his front foot, like Shakur was doing against Valdez. It's very, very difficult for you to land punches. But against a southpaw, the feet are staggered, just like a righty versus a righty. Lefty versus a lefty, the feet are staggered, and the hard punch, the throw hand comes from opposite shoulders. So just as easily as your opponent, or just as hard as he can come in on you, you could do the same thing to him. So that basically means it's if it's a seesaw battle, hey, it's any man's game. Whoever lands the quickest counter from that opposite shoulder and gets to step in when the feet are staggered, it could be a very dangerous fight. And supposedly this dude's been getting pieced up by lefties in sparring. So that's just what I see, PDA.
Wait. Who's been getting pissed up in sparring by lefties?
Supposedly Shakur.
No, really?
Supposedly Shakur.
Where'd you hear that?
Well, yeah, I saw a video about that. Supposedly he was tweeting back and forth with another boxer, and they were calling each other out and like saying, "Oh, you know what I did to you," and
yeah, now I know what you're referring to. But you know what, Gonzalo? I mean, sparring is sparring. We're gonna see the real fighters on Thursday, and it's interesting because the last southpaw, you were talking about the southpaw versus southpaw dynamic. The last southpaw, or I think the only good southpaw that Stevenson ever fought, was Jamel Herring. And not for nothing, but at that time in 2021, we'd stopped doing film analysis back then. We were sticking because of copyright issues, but I'd seen a lot of Jamel Herring's fights, and one of his fights was when he fought Ladarius Miller over at the PBC about 4 years prior to that Stevenson fight. And Ladarius Miller, I think that's his name, he was a southpaw as well, and he made Herring look slow. In contrast, when Herring fought that Japanese guy, Ito, he looked fast. And then he dropped Carl Frampton and retired him, which just goes to show you Frampton had one foot out the door and he wasn't a natural 130-pounder. Does this sound like excuses? No, I'm just highlighting the fact that Herring, for as good as he is, and he's got the heart of a lion, Semper Fi, when it comes to boxing, he's limited and he's old. And this ain't Jermell Herring. This is a southpaw who has speed, who has power, and he's younger than Shakur Stevenson. He's hungry. That being said, sometimes fans, we complain about, this guy doesn't get knockouts. But in this dynamic, it seems like it's good for Shakur Stevenson. He may have one advantage, which is that he's gone 12 rounds a whole bunch of times. We know he can maintain a good pace. And even if he does start getting tired, he might know how to pace himself to get his second win. We don't know that about Edwin de los Santos. In fact, the rumor is, or from what people saw in that Foster fight, apparently he got off to a good start and then he faltered. Now, he claims that De Los Santos does that, I didn't have my trainer, it was my first fight in the U.S., blah, 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 blah. Point is, I think he's only gone to the distance or above round 6 once. That was his last fight against Joseph Adorno. So what do you expect gas tank-wise, Gonzalo? Do you think that's going to be a big factor?
Well, that's a very good point, BDA, because I mentioned it the other day, and I was like, man, like when it came to, like, for example, I'm just going to mention Rocky Hernandez, a puncher. So I would say one of the problems or like the curse of a puncher is that they're used to getting dudes out of there early. So many times they haven't gone the full 10 or the 12 rounds like Hernandez had never done before. Same thing could probably be said about what's this guy's name? Edwin de los Santos, because he got 12 KOs in 14 fights. So how many did he fight for a title last fight? I mean, maybe it's his first time going 12 instead of 10. So that could happen once that you're dropping that, for example, that left hand, and let's say you're not landing it and you're starting to get frustrated, and let's say Shakur takes that away from him, by basically pulling his head back and not getting hit, whatever may be the case, is he going to run out of ideas, and is he going to start getting frustrated? And at that point, is he going to start getting picked apart? That's the thing. And with the whole thing that there's not a lot of footage, one can only surmise that's an open book still.
Yeah, that is going to be an interesting question. And yes, indeed, I just verified that the Adorno fight was a 10-rounder. He has never gone past the 10th round. And you know what's interesting about this, Gonzalo? For some reason, as I was, again, like I said, there's not that much to look at from De Los Santos. There's not that many fights available for us to look at. But I was thinking that if we're wondering and questioning his stamina, I'm pretty sure that Stevenson is probably thinking that too. They have about the same number of fights, but of course, Stevenson is more proven. He's fought the tougher guys out there. And he's probably thinking, look, I know he's going to get off to a good start. I'm going to try to press him. Do you think he's going to try to put on the high guard and try to walk De Los Santos down?
He's going to try to, it's good. I think it's a good thing because I've heard other fighters talk about it before. I think it's a good, actually, Navarrete. It's good to know what a fighter brings to the table as far as power. That way, you can process it and say, okay, maybe he's not that much of I can deal with it. In other words, and then I can go from there, kind of figure it out instead of being timid the whole fight. To where once you're timid and you're thinking about it too much, okay, you're unsure, then you might get clipped with something that you weren't willing to figure out in the beginning. So yeah, maybe he tries to understand what, as far as Edwin de los Santos brings to the table, as far as power, to kind of sort that shit out. But it's difficult to tell because Shakur doesn't like getting hit at all. He's a guy that's so negative that you heard Mark Kriegel speak before. According to ratio of punches thrown to punches taken, he's probably one of the highest in boxing. So he's a very, very negative fighter. And I think the only way that he'll what he'll try to do is make Edwin de los Santos make a mistake first, in other words. And that's when he'll capitalize. He won't be in there to okay, I'm going to try to walk you down in the beginning, because he probably does understand, based off the record, And I mean, he's a fighter. He knows that dude got power. So
Yeah,
I don't see that necessarily being the case.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see if indeed that's what he tries to do. He tries to pressure De Los Santos a little bit because, when Mayweather fought Judah was actually faster than Mayweather. Maybe slightly so, but it was apparent there that he was beating him to the punch when they were fighting on the outside. And then Mayweather put on the earmuffs and walked him down and put a beating on him. But that was Mayweather, number one. We don't know if Shakur Stevenson has the same mentality, the same edge to him. Number two, Mayweather was good friends with Judah, and from the rumors swirling out there from multiple people was that they'd sparred numerous times before. So a guy like Mayweather already probably knew what his Judah's strong points were and what his weak points were, and that he could indeed bully him on the inside. Stevenson has no familiarity with De Los Santos. And like you said, I put that quote up there from after the Nakatila fight where he said, I got hit, I didn't like it, but I'll be back and look better next time. And indeed, to his credit, he has looked better. But here's the difference. Valdez, for example, he's a big puncher. But as we were trying to tell people before the fight, especially the people that were picking him to beat Shakur Stevenson, it's like, listen, Valdez is unoriginal, uncreative. He has a very good left hook, decent right hook, a good shotgun jab, which he's inconsistent with, and that's it. When you're fighting a southpaw, that left hook, you better set it up with something. You just can't wait for the guy to throw something. Oh, I'm going to catch him. Not when you get a guy who has got great reflexes like Stevenson does. Nakatila, on the other hand, had a big straight right hand. Emphasis on the straight. And that's what De Los Santos brings to the table as well. A good straight left. A good straight rear hand. So we're going to see if Shakur Stevenson reverts back to that win today, look good the next time approach. But Gonzalo, what do you think? How do you think this fight looks early on?
I think that Edwin De Los Santos will come out like very poised, controlled, but all the while staying relaxed and throwing the straight punches, trying to catch, because you're facing another southpaw, just like a righty versus a righty. I mentioned that the power punches come from the opposite shoulder and the feet are staggered, so he gets to step in. If Shakur gets to step in too, Edwin De Los Santos will also be able to step in into Shakur Stevenson. So he's going to utilize his speed to throw the straight left and try to clip Shakur from the opposite shoulder. You catch somebody from the opposite shoulder slightly diagonally, and you hit him at the tip of the chin. You're gonna put his head on a swivel, and that's what I think Edwin De Los Santos is gonna try to do. Set up the left hand behind I don't know, feint behind the jab, or a throwaway jab to disguise the left hand coming right behind that. And Shakur is also going to try to do the same. He's got experience. He's going to try to see, okay, what does this dude do wrong? And it's probably going to try to circle away from De Los Santos' power hand and try to pick him apart like that. But I see that Edwin De Los Santos is going to continually keep looking for the knockout.
Exactly, man. I mean, look, this is an interesting fight because, like other people, I've seen some people in the chat saying that some people are saying, oh, well, he walked Jamel Herring down. First of all, he couldn't even drop the guy. So, and that stoppage seemed a little iffy to me. But nevertheless, I mean, he let his hands go. Jamel Herring is not a puncher. Edwin De Los Santos is. So I'm very interested in this dynamic to see how Shakur Stevenson looks on Saturday. And the other thing is, Gonzalo, a bit of the X factor going into this fight because, like I said, Shakur Stevenson, in a lot of people's eyes, is the anointed one. He hasn't really done much, and he's already getting credit for the things that he might do. Very reminiscent of the praise that Lomachenko was getting after he dominated 130 pounds. Errol Spence, after he beat Mikey Garcia, all of a sudden, I remember that. People were saying nobody between 140 and 154 can beat him. Even Canelo. Some people were picking Spence to beat Canelo at 160. Look at what happened with that. So it's almost, we've been through this numerous times with fighters being overhyped. It has to be getting to his head a little bit, or to his ear, rather. He's hearing these things. And, right now, when they interview him, it's all about Tank Davis, Devin Haney. I was listening to a podcast, I mentioned this before, Broadway Joel, who's a guy who's familiar with Edwin De Los Santos. He's interviewed him, and I think he's managed to see more fights of De Los Santos that are unavailable out there. And he said the same thing. He said, when you listen to Shakur Stevenson talk right now, he's talking about contracts, he's thinking about Tank Davis, thinking about Devin Haney. The last thing you want to do is overlook a guy who's got very good speed and very good power. So this fight will also prove whether Shakur Stevenson can get focused and stay focused, or whether he's starting to overlook a guy like De Los Santos. What else do we have to say about this fight? Oh yeah, it's interesting, Gonzalo. Shakur Stevenson has been very adamant about hanging around with Terence Crawford. He's like that. Remember that in the Looney Tunes, that little dog that was always circling around the big dog and jumping up and down? That's what Shakur Stevenson reminds me of a little bit. So after Crawford beat Spence, he was always trying to get his face on the cameras alongside Terence Crawford, and he seems to really hold him in high regard. Now, one thing that Terence Crawford did in the build-up to Errol Spence fight is he was trying to calm people down, the outsiders, the hanger-ons, the entourages. He was telling them, listen, you guys pipe down, simmer down. This is between me and him. We're going to fight. This ain't a war. This ain't a fucking gang street battle. This is fucking boxing. Try to calm them down. Shakur Stevenson seems to be operating on a different level here. Here's what we get. This is Shakur Stevenson's entourage going up to Edwin De Los Santos and his trainer.
He looks at me and he says, we're done.
All right, let me fast forward here. There's the guy who's challenged them is also recording. You get to hear better all of the banter that's going on.
You shouldn't have pulled up in the hood. You shouldn't have pulled up in the hood with that fake gangster shit. He about to get his ass smoked. He about to get 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 smoked. He getting his ass tossed up tonight, motherfucker. Fuck you talking about? Goofy.
I don't know if that guy sounds a little bit mentally challenged, or I don't know if he's got a speech impediment or something. It barely sounded like English. But what do you think about that, Gonzalo? Do you think a guy like Shakur Stevenson should follow his idol's suit and his behavior and say, listen, calm his dogs down, in other words?
Yeah, probably. They're just him and Shakur are really different personalities. I mean, Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is more settled back, more kind of like Larry Holmes. He doesn't smile too much. And Shakur, like, he's a guy that is always carrying, that some people will call it a fake smile, some people will call it the $1 million smile. And now every time the camera's on him, he like smiles on purpose. It's like some of them, for example, some of them African Americans that are always like licking their lips, When the camera's on them, they're always like licking your. Why are you doing that? You want attention. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying some. And that's just kind of cringy. It seems kind of arrogant. You got to be careful, man, because life will teach you that sometimes you can get humbled if you act like that. And like you're saying, if he's already looking past De Los Santos, when even for him, there's probably not a lot of available footage to like understand what type of fighter he is, but he probably knows that he got power for sure. So that's one of those things, man. And I think the hangers-on are kind of like what we see now throughout like the many years. Mike Tyson, if they got something to gain from you, that entourage is always going to be like backing you up because they feel threatened. And they want to put a little fear in your heart, especially since supposedly that guy went out to New York. So they want to put intimidation in De Los Santos because he's a foreigner, right? Kind of like stage fright.
New York, baby, we up in there, yeah. That's the type of shit. Like that, what do you talk about? That type of talk goes nowhere. By the way, we got footage of one of those guys smacking their lips. Yeah, man, that's some high fidelity audio right there. But you're right, Gonzalo. I mean, look, this type of back and forth, I mean, I suppose it's good for the fight. It sells it somewhat. It gets a little bit of attention. But ultimately, I think maybe Shakur Stevenson should take a page out of Crawford's book and calm his dogs down. But it's going to be an interesting fight, man. That's for sure. It's an interesting fight. And, Shakur Stevenson, if he wins this fight, we got to talk too about his marketability because I'm looking at the LDBC community, for example. Now it's between Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis and Devin Haney, and these people are siding with Tank Davis and Devin Haney. They seem to have no love or very little love for Shakur Stevenson. I don't know if it's because Shakur Stevenson is with Top Rank, or maybe it's because he suddenly decided to embrace his Puerto Rican heritage. Be it as it may, one of the arguments that I hear against Shakur Stevenson is, oh, he's fighting on a Thursday. He's fighting on a Thursday. And I'm thinking, what? How is that exactly a bad thing? I mean, as a boxing fan, I'm quite happy with the fact that this fight's taking place on a Thursday. That way we don't have to wait until Saturday. What do you think about that, Gonzalo? Why are people making such a big deal of the Thursday?
Yeah, fighting on a Thursday is a good thing. It feels like a double weekend, right? I don't know if there's fighting on Saturday, but I mean that's a weekend. There's other things to do in life on a Saturday and Sunday, but
Exactly.
Thursday is just like an extra day, right?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we got Diego Pacheco fighting on Saturday, I believe. So, I mean, I think it's because people have forgotten the fact that we used to have fights on Tuesday via USA Tuesday night fights. ESPN during the summer, they would have Wednesday night fights along with their usual Friday night fights programming. And so, I mean, I like a Thursday night. Well, give me more Thursday night fights. In fact, there's a card on ESPN today from my neck of the woods, Montreal. So, I'm very happy with that. I got no complaints. And but Gonzalo, that's the big war now between the Devin Haney Tank fans and the Shakur Stevenson fans. And one of the arguments is Stevenson's not a star. Stevenson's not a star. Guess what? He may never be a star because of his style. But what does that have to do with fighting him? I mean, if he rises to the number one position in the lightweight, or number two rather, in the lightweight ranks, someone's gonna have to fight him eventually. Haney, which I think the way he's looking physically, is going to have to move up to 140 or stay there rather. I don't think he's going back down to 135. So who's left? Lomachenko, apparently the rumor is he's going to fight George Kambosos. You got Tank Davis. The rumor is he's going to rematch Isaac Cruz. Is it possible we see some of these fights happening in 2024, or is it classic case of these guys just not fighting each other?
I'm not sure, BDA. I knew this was going to happen like a long time ago because everybody wants to be the guy that rises above everybody else. And if you face a Tank or Devin Haney, if you're Shakur, I think even Ryan Garcia was in the mix, but he lost already.
Mm-hmm.
You're basically going to get your future's going to be like that's.
Yeah, Gonzalo, I think you cut off there, man. Yeah.
You always have that resentment, you know.
You cut off there a little bit. What'd you say about the resentment?
Yeah, I think like if Haney loses to Shakur, he don't want to be that guy that is always going to have to face the people saying, "Oh, well, he's going to get constantly reminded you lost to that guy." So basically, your ceiling is set. Well, the other guy lives to fight another day. You know, like with the far brighter future.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. These guys have to remember: one loss is not a career ender. They're obsessed with their role. Look at Emmanuel Navarrete, who's fighting on the undercard. He's got a loss. Who cares, man? I mean,
well, that's the thing, BDA. But yeah, sorry for cutting you off, BDA. But that's the thing with these guys. It's very for the Americans. I would even say the Black Americans, particularly, a loss is very like devastating. It ruins your whole marketability moving forward. Just think of like Castillo when he fought Mayweather. What would you think would have happened if Castillo would have beat Mayweather during that time? What would Mayweather's future would have been like after that?
I mean, he probably still beats him in the rematch, and nothing much changes.
Do you think he would have been made as much money as he did?
I think so, yeah. Remember, in boxing, it's not about who you lost to, it's how you keep winning. It's the same thing a lot of these guys don't understand with Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao kept, he had some losses. He got his ass knocked out against Marquez. He dusted himself up, said, okay, show me, what else you get? And he kept on winning. He's one of the best fighters ever. So people get too obsessed with the losses, especially with the business, Gonzalo. Look at Canelo. He's got 2 losses. Is that impeding him from making money?
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what? It's better for us fans too when these guys stop obsessing over the losses, because that way they make the fights easier. There's not that much trepidation, and we get to see the best fights. By the way, we're going to talk about that card that's going to be taking place in Saudi Arabia, just announced. It's not a rumor anymore, apparently, or it's almost a certainty that it's going to take place. We're going to talk about that. Don't forget to hit the likes. Hit the like, fellas, actually. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. All right, fellas? Don't be shy. Go ahead and hit that like. Don't forget, we're also going to be opening up the phone lines near the end of the hour, so stay tuned for that. You get to call in, give us your predictions and your thoughts on the boxing landscape, or about the boxing landscape. Gonzalo, let's move on now, unless you got anything else to say, man, about the anything else we missed about this Shakur Stevenson de Los Santos fight.
Shakur, I mean, I give him credit for taking the replacement opponent when the other dude pulled out. So, I mean, it's kind of like hard to like really understand what goes through his mind, because he acts like the boogeyman, but you know, when he fought, like for example, once again, Nakatila, he decided to get on the back foot. But still, I mean, he's pretty confident in his skills, you know, the speed and the timing. Like you said in the past before, that freezes opponents. So he's not necessarily the hardest puncher, but with that speed and the timing, if he hits you with something you don't see coming, yeah, he can hit pretty hard, I guess, and knock you out too. So he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, and he's got a lot of skill. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. We'll see if how he does. I guess the guy who's just as fast, if not maybe faster than he is, and certainly seems to pack a wallop in there. So we'll see what happens on Thursday. I was going to say Saturday. I'm still accustomed to these gosh darn Saturday fights. On the undercard, another fight that looks quite enticing. And again, hopefully this is neither fighter overlooks the other one. We've got Emmanuel Navarrete taking on Robson Conceicao. Navarrete coming off, this is the third time he's fighting this year, coming off. Finally, people are starting to recognize that the guy does have skills along with the power after he beat Valdez, and now he's taking on Conceicao, former title challenger. His only losses were a highly controversial decision over Oscar Valdez, and then that fight against Stevenson where he got his balls busted throughout the fight. He came out of that unscathed. He's a tough guy. He's a big lightweight, or tall rather, at 5 feet 10 inches and a half. 10 and a half inches. He's a long guy. He's got an Olympic pedigree, Olympic gold medal. Gonzalo, how do you see El Vaquero dealing with Robson Conceicao?
Well, I think the one that's going to have to deal with Vaquero is Conceicao, because, you know, Vaquero brings it. Every fight, he usually goes from less to more, starts applying the pressure and getting stronger all the while. His opponent is getting tired, so he basically feeds off your energy, and he starts maybe missing punches, but he starts dialing it in and landing them shots, you know, aggressive from the outside. That's Vaquero. A lot of people think pressure has always got to be on your chest. No, but this dude's he's tall, long for the division, and he's aggressive from the outside. Robson Conceicao is a good fighter too, but from what I've seen of him, sometimes he's kind of unsure. Like he thinks about a little too much, and sometimes he gives you good rounds, sometimes he gives you bad rounds. He's Louis Coria fight that somebody posted on the Discord. He started slugging with Coria, back and forth, you know, trading rights and left. And I was like, damn, I thought this dude was like a boxer. But I don't know what was his game plan behind that, because he got dropped and hurt in that fight. And that wasn't his intention, or basically the pressure got to him, and that's what he felt he needed to do to keep Coria off of him. But like I said, with Navarrete, yeah, it's constant pressure, and it's not always on your chest. So it's a different animal. But credit to Conceicao. Well, not credit, but I mean his dimensions are long, kind of like equal to Navarrete. So it might be a little bit more difficult. Like it proved to be the case when he fought Liam Wilson, the Australian. Not so easy to like bully dudes from the outside when you're the taller and the opponent is the shorter guy. You're more on even keel with him. So we'll have to see. But I think Navarrete knocks him out late, in my opinion.
That's what I was going to get at there, yeah, because this is a tall guy or taller guy than Navarrete. And so usually he's fighting guys who are shorter than him, so he can actually launch those uppercuts with a little bit more certainty. The thing is, though, Conceicao's straight right leaves much to be desired. He's got a good jab, but his straight right is I don't know, there's something wrong. He curves it a little too much. He doesn't straighten it out as much as possible, which is weird from an Olympic gold medalist that you would see a guy with such bizarre technique with the right hand. But like you said, in that Coria fight, he was exchanging with the guy on the inside. And his hooks, they seem to have some pop in them, but he tends to slap with them too. And he was bleeding profusely from the mouth. He was taking some damage in there. Navarrete is not the type of flat-footed, heavy hooker that Coria is, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. He has a different type of power, but he usually tends to flow more than him getting on the inside and throwing hooks. So I don't know, man. It's one thing's for sure is, just like Shakur Stevenson, we'll see if he can actually stay focused in this fight. We'll see the same thing about Navarrete. Can he stay focused? Because we saw him lose focus against the Liam guy, the Australian. That almost cost him in there. And the rumor was that he was having too good a time outside the ring. So we'll see if after the Valdez fight, let's see if he's still focused or if he's gone back to his parting ways. And you don't want to take Robson Conceicao too lightly, because the thing I respect about Conceicao is Shakur Stevenson was hitting him with low blow after low blow, and this guy said, all right, the referee's not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to start clinching. And he took those low blows, man. He took him. He didn't wear down. And so he's a tall, lightweight. He's got experience, Olympic pedigree. He knows what he's doing. So we'll see what happens. But then again, Gonzalo, flip side to that coin is he's 35 years old. 35. Does he have the mettle and the resistance to take what Navarrete is going to bring? Who's 28, by the way, Navarrete. Do you think the age is going to play a factor down the stretch?
Yeah, the maybe a little bit. It's one of those things where he does have skill, but he's kind of like undecisive, and he doesn't give you like consistency in the ring. Sometimes he'll give you this type of fight in this certain round. In a different round, he'll throw the skills out the window and start training with you. Then the next round, he gets pieced up and dominated. Then he comes back and dominates the other guy. So it's one of those things with him, right? And he kind of like hangs out, trying to use his footwork to get on the back foot and pick you apart from the outside, and is not willing to engage sometimes. But like I said, other times he is, and that's how Coria knocked him down. But credit to him, he came back in that fight. With Navarrete, one thing that I do see is like I think his greater motivation is money, and when he's not getting paid well, and he sees that, maybe like he was with the other promoter, but then he signed with Top Rank, but they don't want to offer him the big paydays. He kind of gets disillusioned. But I mean, if he knows that if he beats this guy like later, I don't know, it's kind of weird that he's on the undercard of Shakur. After he unifies against the other dudes in the division, Navarrete can jump up and face Shakur for like a big payday, because he was speaking about it in Eric Morales' podcast. He's looking to make like $3 million. And, he gives a lot of credit to Shakur, and I kind of hate that mentality. It's almost like you're kind of bending the knee a little bit too, as long as you give me a good payday, I'm going to put up a fight, but I don't necessarily feel that I'm going to win. It's kind of like the colonial mentality. I'm not sure, man. But I see him beating Conceicao. That's for sure.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's going to be an interesting fight, man. I mean, I'm telling you, this is probably the best card of the month. Some people say, well, what about David Benavidez versus Andrade? Yeah, that's pay-per-view. And it's a fight that shouldn't be on pay-per-view because neither guy can draw. And you'll see that when they release, even when they release those fake pay-per-view numbers that they try to balloon, you'll conclude and concur that neither guy should be on pay-per-view. But it's a good fight, don't get me wrong. And since I'm a boxing crackhead, I will be paying for it. But I'm going to be doing it under duress. But in any event, this fight, man, this card that we're having here on Thursday, it's on ESPN. Don't got to pay extra for it. And it's got two very interesting fights on paper. Like I said, after this fight, if Navarrete wins, like you said, Gonzalo, they're trying to put him in there against Shakur Stevenson. And that's the power that Top Rank has right now, is that they have a fight lined up already. Whereas a guy like, for example, Tank Davis, what do they do with him? People are starting to find out the grift that he puts up with the rehydration clauses. The Isaac Cruz fight is a fight that very few people are asking for. Who else are going to put him in there with? Frank Martin? I mean, this whole face of boxing thing is going to be exposed if he fights those guys, especially if it's on Amazon pay-per-view. The numbers are going to reflect what most of us have already know. So hopefully in 2024, because politically too, 2024 is probably going to be quite an eventful year. So hopefully that puts a little bit of pressure on these boxers in the boxing industry and have these guys fight each other. What else is Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson? What else are they going to do? I mean, like I said, Shakur Stevenson probably has a little bit more leeway with the Navarrete fight. But what about Tank Davis? And Devin Haney's moving up to 140. So I think that Shakur Stevenson, if Shakur Stevenson wins, they should make that him into Tank Davis because that's a fight that could possibly sell more than Navarrete. Because even Navarrete with the Mexican, people say, well, what about the Mexican money? The Mexican money is always there. Top Rank seems to have moved away from the Mexican market now. In the 90s and 2000s and 2010s, it was all about Mexico. It's, hey, we know that Mexico's going to pay. Now they're really trying to push more of these Afro-Anglo fighters. And unfortunately, they don't, it's been proven, Afro-Anglos tend to focus on other sports. They don't pay for boxing. So I don't understand what the brain trust over that Top Rank is up to, but that seems to be what's going on here. By the way, yes, go ahead, sir. Sorry.
And BDA, and it seems like this is what they're doing. They're kind of like smart. And if you're reading between the lines, I was just thinking about it like right now as you were like saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they don't face each other because, like I mentioned earlier, they don't probably want to cancel each other's career out. But then, like for example, okay, Devin Haney moves up to 140. The titles are vacant, just like they stripped Crawford. Now instead of like where this guy has to beat the other guy, and then this guy, one guy's got to take an L. Well, he just moves up, drops the belt, and they give it to the other guy for free. Email champion.
Right.
Now, well, this one's vacant, but the other guy gets awarded like Boots Ennis. It's one of those things. Nobody loses, and everybody continues fighting and preserving that O. Well, in most cases, or some.
That's the thing, though. It's a lot of these. That's what I was talking about when I was doing that calling show. Which is, could people stop focusing on the fucking belts? And I know it's not easy. I know it's complicated, but it's either or at this point. That's where we're at as boxing fans. People need to stop. People need to start ignoring the belts. For example, Crawford got divested of a belt. Okay, does that mean he's no longer undisputed? There's a dispute now about whether he's the main guy. Same thing with Teofimo Lopez. He wins. He beats Josh Taylor. All of a sudden, now he's not undisputed like Devin Haney because he doesn't have all the belts. He beat the man. You tell me Rolly Romero is disputing that now because he has a title? I mean, get the fuck out of here. People, look, I've been saying this since 2002, and now is a perfect opportunity for me to continue this crusade, this jihad of trying to combat the virus that are the alphabet organizations. But anyway, that's probably for another episode as well. Navarrete, by the way, it's good that at least they have him on the card because you never know with Shakur Stevenson, De Los Santos, that could be a stinker. From that, you never know. Maybe neither guy wants to take that much of a risk. Neither guy wants to open up. But at least with Navarrete, you're probably assured that he's going to put on the show. Although stranger things have happened. Maybe he puts on a one-sided performance that's kind of boring and Shakur Stevenson and De Los Santos actually get into a war or something. I mean, you never know. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping we get some good boxing on Thursday. I think there's also a couple of prospects fighting there. Who else is there? Yeah, Emiliano Vargas is fighting. He's stuck right back in. I don't know if ESPN. I don't know the schedule that they have here. I don't know if it's in order, but we got Emiliano Vargas is fighting and Abdullah Mason. That's another guy that a lot of people are high on. There's a lot of hype around those two. So those you got two prospects in showcase fights.
Yeah, Emiliano Vargas. I would say he probably needs to drop the suit. He's starting to look like a cartoon character. Kind of like El Catrín from the Mexican lottery. Always wearing the same thing. Like, relax, bro. Throw on like a jumpsuit or something. I mean, I see what they're trying to do. I mean, credit. He's trying to keep a clean image and everything. And for another thing, I only keep seeing him. I don't see his opponent. Everybody else, their opponents are there except his. It's probably like a tune-up, a gimme fight. So I'm really going to start paying attention to him once he starts facing like a guy that we know a little bit about. Kind of make it more interesting to see where he's really at.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, Gonzalo, is the boxing landscape is changing. The economy ain't doing too good in the United States. All over the world, really, but more so the United States. Disposable income no longer at its zenith the way it was a couple of years ago. And so, like a card like this in Las Vegas, who's really going to travel from all over the country to watch this fight? It's expensive. You drive down there, you watch the fight, and then you got to drive back. There ain't no way you're staying in a hotel at these rates. Meanwhile, the UK, they always do strong numbers. I don't think they're that worried. And now we've got Gonzalo. We've got a Saudi Arabian card that is jam packed with names. Maybe not the best fights, but in terms of quantity of fighters, it's unbelievable what they've been able to put up with. These guys are unafraid to lose money. And we're going to get to that. But before I do that, I want to remind people to please hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. It really helps us out. And if you forego hitting the like, we're just going to have to end it right here. We're going to have to end it right here. Or I'm going to start playing this sound of Demetrius Andrade sound effects nonstop. You want me to keep playing that over and over again? I will, man. I got no qualms about that. But
yeah, BDA, they're not afraid to let that money go. I mean, yeah, these people are rich. It almost seems like they'll splurge. They're willing to just spend to be amused, right? To be amused. It's like kind of like a weird fetish. I mean, just imagine all the money they had to spend for the event and to fly all those legends over there. That was crazy. And to offer the hospitality and probably everything, it was expensive. So these people, I mean, they got everything in life, and they're probably okay. We're gonna do something different just because we can, right? Just because we can.
Yeah, exactly, man. But as boxing fans, I don't know where this is gonna go, and I still haven't come up with some negative point. The only negative I see from holding these fights in Qatar and Saudi Arabia is that you're not going to get the same fervent boxing fans showing up there the way you would in England or Mexico or the United States. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, we are at least they're putting up a lot of money, which is because that's what these fighters today, they're worried about. Well, I got to get paid. If I don't get paid, I don't fight the best. I said, come on, man. But, like Teofimo Lopez, who knows what's going on with that dude? There was a video on Twitter. He was a trash man. It's fucking in the back of a truck. I don't know if it was community service or something. I don't know if he got in trouble and had to do that. But anyway, be that as it may, these fighters are asking for too much, even though they barely draw flies to their even in their home court. So the fact that these dudes are coming along, the Saudi Arabia saying, hey, listen, we'll give you 10 mil, 5 mil, whatever. And they're able to do this, unafraid to lose money. Hey, we end up winning as boxing fans. I don't care where the fight takes place. As long as it happens and I'm able to see it, I'll it's worth it. But here's the problem here, Gonzalo. Dan Refuel used to be the darling of the PBC. They used to use him to float those fake numbers that they wanted him to float. But now he's no longer with ESPN. He's on his own. He's got his own sort of like pay for read it service. And so Compinger came out with the fact that this fight or this card was going to take place. And check out what Refuel had to say. Mike Compinger said, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder will fight in separate bouts on December the 23rd in Saudi Arabia, sources told ESPN. And then Refuel said, sources, in quotation marks, LOL, 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 LOL. What a fraud. So he's calling Mike Compinger a fraud there, Gonzalo. And just remember what Jimmy said about this? He said Refuel is a guy that he was trying to suck up to the PBC not that long ago. Even tagging Espinoza and Leonard Ellerby and saying, look at how stupid these PBC detractors are. Right, guys? Right, guys? Like, it was really kind of pathetic. But Gonzalo, I understand in a way because being a boxing writer, being a writer or anything right now really is hard, difficult to make money, even for an established writer like Dan Refuel. So he's just looking for a place to land. He's looking for a hot meal or maybe 7 hot meals per day. But what do you think, Gonzalo, about the card or about this little brouhaha in Twitter?
Yeah, I don't know about those guys. I think they're always going at each other. I think Mike Coppinger called him a fat bastard or something.
Really? Imagine if he did that. I don't know. Can you confirm that or can we authenticate that?
I think I heard it the other day and I was like, oh, damn, that's cold.
Holy shit.
That's crazy. Yeah, but that dude, supposedly he said some shit in the past that didn't come true, but then later it actually did come true. So you really don't know if Mike Compinger's lying. Like you said, I mean, it's having those dudes' job is kind of like difficult because there's many sources in different places, like for example on YouTube. So I don't particularly pay attention to what those guys say anyways. But who knows? Yeah, I just
Yeah,
know
well,
that they go in and at each other, go in at each other.
we have a audio of Coppinger versus Stan Rayfield. They met up at a fight and they had a little bit of a brief interplay. Here's a clip. Here's Mike Coppinger screaming at Dan Rayfield.
You fat fucking scumbag!
Oh, geez, Louise, wasn't holding back. But Gonzalo, yeah, that's the thing with these boxing writers is they need to have access to the fighters, so they can't badmouth the promoters or the fighters too much, otherwise they lose access. And they're all obsessed. I know you don't go on Twitter, Gonzalo. At least I don't think you do. But whenever I do go there, it's always about who's breaking the news. They all want to break news. They all want to be the first one to say it. And then something happens, and then people forget about it. It's not a monumental big deal that these people tend to make it out to be. But everyone's looking for a home. Everyone wants to be supported by a promotional entity so they can keep writing for a living. But every once in a while, that affects the quality of the work. By the way, shout out to, hold on a second, Optimus Prime 1984 for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, Salud BDA. What are your thoughts on Tito Mercado? He KO'd Nakatila in 2 rounds. Not sure how this kid is not signed with a major promoter. Well, first of all, you caught me by surprise there because I got no clue who Tito Mercado is, unless maybe I know the face but not the name. Ernesto Tito Mercado, BoxRec 13-0. Jeremiah. When did he knock out Nakatila? That took place a couple of days ago at the Phoenix Center in Ontario.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it. I think it was on a Saturday. I didn't think there was any boxing this weekend. But I didn't even know who he was either. I think I had heard of his name one time. Kind of sounds like a character from the movie Carlitos Way. But anyhow, congratulations to him.
Yeah, was this on the Zone? Where did this take place?
Yeah, probably because the Zone be doing like cards all of a sudden. Like sometimes they'll do 2, 1 at different hours. But who knows, really?
You know what? I actually had seen clips of this. I'm looking him up on YouTube. I had seen clips of this guy before, but I had no clue that he was fighting on a Saturday. Yeah, he apparently destroyed Nakatila in the 2nd round. The fight is up on YouTube. Well, at least the round in which the fight finished. I'm gonna look it up, man. How old is this kid?
Hey, I noticed that BD. All of a sudden, this kind of like it's a good thing, but at the same time, it's like it's one of those things that like in the final quarter of every year, they'll start like dishing fights out because maybe they need to complete their schedules and meet their quotas and give everybody a fight, but they won't announce them. All of a sudden, you get like this surprise. Well, this guy's fighting all of a sudden that you didn't know anything about because they don't mention it more times than not.
Yeah, usually they save some good cards for the end of the year. I mean, that's usually where we had the Novembers to remember or December to remember. Last year was the exception. Last year was really disappointing, the end of the year, and we didn't have that many good fights, or big fights rather, near the end of the year. But this time it's looking like, I mean, we got Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards. We got Haney versus Prograis at the start of the December. So we got some and then we, of course, Andrade versus Benavides at the end of November. So we were having a good end of the year. And then Inoue Tapales. I mean, come on. It's a good end to the year. But what I was going to say about that, yeah, so Ernesto Mercado, 22 years of age. Jeez Louise. A lot of people give Murataya credit for what he did to Nakatila, but this guy just did it in the same, or around the same space as well. So I'm going to take a look at this guy and see what he's up to and what he's all about. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. It really helps us out. We're going to be opening up the phone lines right now. But Gonzalo, in the meantime, while I open up the phone lines, let's talk about this card that we mentioned from Saudi Arabia. So here's what we got. And this is just the undercard. Dimitri Bivol taking on Lyndon Arthur. Jay Apataya taking on an old slugger in Ellis Zorro. Philip Hergovich taking on a 40-something-year-old Mark Dimori. Makhmudov from my neck of the woods here in Montreal, taking on Ajit Kabayel. That should be a decent one. Frank Sanchez taking on Junior Fa. And Daniel Dubois taking on Jarrell Big Baby Miller, the other baby of that division. Giselle, what do you make of these matchups? Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, it looks like an all right card. Who sticks out here? Arslan Bek Makhmudov just fought recently, so he's staying active. He knocks people out. So I see like he's fighting like every other month or maybe like every month. That's one thing you knock out your opponent in 1 or 2 rounds. Okay, what's you got to keep fighting because I mean you're not hurt and you got to stay sharp.
Mhm.
Frank Sanchez, good boxer, kind of on the boring side. I forgot who he's fighting. I didn't see the opponent there, but let me
Junior
see.
Fa.
Frank
He's the
Sanchez,
guy.
Junior Pong. Isn't that like an older guy?
Junior Fa is a guy from New Zealand, I believe. He's a big dude. But I think he got his ass knocked out by that skinhead looking dude from Australia. What's his name? Brown, Lucas Brown. So he's unsteady.
Then you
And then
got
Daniel,
Jarrell Big Baby Miller. No, that's the other Baby Miller, right? The guy that tested positive 3 times, or no, or
yeah,
the new one.
that's the walking pharmacy, Miller.
Oh damn, that'll be interesting because he's a heavy set dude. I wonder how he'll look without the pits. Because one of those things that like when you're used to taking pits, you probably start believing in yourself. But when you don't got them any longer, you probably lose confidence. But Daniel Dubois, he's bouncing back after having like that only one moment, and it was really like illegal by the criteria of the judges and the referee with that borderline low blow, which I'm not going to get into that, but I mean it was a low blow. So it's just an interesting card. Got big dudes fighting each other. That cruiserweight, that lefty, he's pretty good. I seen some highlights of him.
Yeah, Gonzalo,
And,
it doesn't
so
even
we'll
seem
see,
like it doesn't even seem like he believes that it was a legitimate body shot. That's why I think he's so depressed and lacking confidence. But I'm looking at the chat here, and people are saying it's a shit undercard. A lot of them are just showcase fights, which I can agree with, save for maybe one or two, which, there's some that are more competitive than others, but ultimately you kind of know who's going to be walking away with the win. But statistically, it's a heavyweight division. Some of these guys are overrated, so you expect at least one upset or a harder fight than expected in there. But then, Gonzalo, this is what we've got as the main card that is being rumored for that Saudi Arabia event. You've got Joshua taking on Otto Wallin, and then prior to that, you will have Wilder taking on Joseph Parker. What do you think about that?
That's a good fight. The Wallin versus Joshua. Wallin's a good boxer. Didn't he just beat Gassiev? I mean,
That's right.
Gassiev's okay. I understand he's on the smaller side, but still a power puncher. That was a back and forth fight from the highlights that I seen, which by the way were a very good quality. I hadn't seen some highlights of a fight where everything is like so clear and picture perfect, and it even looks like, dude, that was awesome when I seen those highlights. I don't know if you saw the same, but Otto Wallin, I think he's a lefty too. Joshua versus Deontay Wilder versus Parker. That's an interesting fight too because I think Parker, he's not old. He's like a young veteran. I mean, who's taking losses, and maybe he's got a little bit of time to learn from that and rebound back. I know he just caught another. Did he? Well, he actually won against another dude. But yeah, it's one of those things. You keep on learning. You're not old and necessarily shot. I know he's been through some wars, but still he's strong enough and capable of maybe becoming better. And the other dude, I mean, he might be a little rusty. Freaking Deontay Wilder. So who knows?
Well, I got to tell you there, Gonzalo, this Parker versus Wilder fight is an interesting one because Wilder is coming off a layoff, 1 year layoff. He has only fought about 3 minutes in the last year. And Joseph Parker, say what you will about the dude, but he actually has a good defense against right hands. He rolls away from the right hands. Now, that could cost him rolling away from a right hand with his hands down when it's coming fast from Deontay Wilder. But when he fought Joshua, he actually made Joshua miss a lot with those right hands. He's got a lot of agility, like Quentin Lassiter is saying in the chat. He's only 31 years old, so physically he should be in his prime. Like you said, young veteran. You look at his resume and the guys that he's fought, Carlos Takam, Dimitrienko, Andy Ruiz, Huey Fury. He lost to Joshua and Dylan White, but gave Dylan White a hell of a fight. He beat Junior Fa. He beat Derek Chisora twice. He lost to Joey Joyce, but then just recently came back and scored a knockout against Simon Keane in Saudi Arabia as well. So, this dude, don't be surprised if Wilder looks like crap or shittier than usual. And as for the Otto Wallin card, fight against Joshua, Gonzalo, a lot of people feel that Wallin should have gotten the nod over Fury. That fight should have been stopped by virtue of the horrendous cut that Fury encountered. Nevertheless, at 6 feet 5 inches tall, he's a big guy for a heavyweight. He's actually quite mobile for a heavyweight. He's got a tricky style. He's a southpaw. And the last time Joshua fought a southpaw, he got schooled twice by Alexander Usyk. So, Gonzalo, what do you think about that Wallin-Joshua fight? You think an upset happens there?
Interesting. Yeah, another southpaw. I mean, did he gain experience from that, or is he just going to continue getting schooled by southpaws? It tends to happen to some fighters. I can't forget who it was in the lightweight division. I think it was Pedraza. Kept losing to southpaws, but because maybe that's his poison. Just like they say about Errol Spence with Bob Arum, he just can't fight southpaws. And but who knows? I mean, yeah, Otto Wallin. I forget where she's from. Switzerland or Sweden?
Sweden, yeah.
Sweden. I think they used to have like a good Olympic team back in the days, and I don't know who he's trained by. Maybe Joey Gamache. So he's got some skill. I mean, look what he did to Fury. He cut him open. I think that was by a punch. So I mean, if he got some poison, if not like knockout power, where he can clip you and catch you on the brow or something, cut you up and make you bleed, and you know, give you a difficult fight from the southpaw stance, like it has happened before to Joshua. It'll probably be a good fight. So I'm interested to see that. I want to see where Joshua's at. If he's also learning, or if he's more on the looking more shot by the day.
Well, you know, it's interesting because there is that. I did a video about that a couple of weeks ago about Joshua. You know, people saying, "Oh, is Joshua right mentally?" And he still has a good arsenal. The type of ordinance that he brings to the table is superior to most guys, certainly superior to Otto Wallin's. But Otto Wallin is a tricky guy. He's had a couple of good fights himself against Fury. You know, he gained a lot of experience from that. He fought Brazil. Then he just recently beat Gassiev. And Joshua, though, look, he did improve in the Usyk rematch. He made it more competitive by going to the body. And speaking of that, Gonzalo, you know, we've talked about how he actually should have maybe stuck it out with Robert Garcia. Apparently now, a couple of weeks ago, there was a rumor that Joshua was leaving Derek James, and now apparently that is true. He's going to train with, wait for it, Davis. What's his name again? The British guy that Stu loves. What's his first name, man?
I think I know where you're from.
I can't believe I'm zoning out here. Anyway, someone's going to let us know in the chat. But he's going that with the long-haired Davis. Ben Davidson. Yeah, thank you, Leonardo. No
Ben Davis.
Ben Davidson. Yeah, he's going with Ben Davidson. That somebody said that, I don't know if they said it as a joke, but that Ben Davidson is actually sort of maybe allied with Kinahan, and that he's forcing these guys to take Davidson on as a trainer. But what do you think about that? That he's switching trainers for about the fourth time now in the last 24-something months. What do you think about that?
I suspect, and I think that guys from England, I've never been there, but I think it rains a lot and it's kind of cold, are probably not used to and don't like the weather from a place like Texas, because it's hot as hell over there. It's one of those things. It gets you frustrated after a while. It's like you're probably telling yourself, "What am I doing here?" So he's left them to go back to Davis. It's one of those things. Sometimes chemistry, the chemistry you got with your trainer, it puts you in the right place. Because I mean, Joshua already got a lot of experience, and if he can stick to a game plan and he's got the good rapport with the trainer that will motivate him to put up a good fight where he's right mentally, I mean, that could show us a reinvigorated Anthony Joshua.
I mean, look, I wouldn't be surprised if who's saying that? Drizzy Bro, shout out to Drizzy in the chat, says that apparently Derek James just came out. I don't know if he said it on social media. I suspect he did. That he said that these are just rumors. But I wouldn't be surprised if Josh was thinking of changing trainers. He's the type of guy who will switch trainers just as soon as he has a bad performance or whatever, because he believes that is what's going to give him his ace in the hole. But also Derek James has been having a shitty year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Joshua tries to change trainers here just to get a good different look. We got Never Sober jumping in. Never Sober, shout out to you, man. And don't forget, fellas, what's up, man? What's up? Phone lines are open, by the way. The phone lines are open. Let's get to a couple of phone calls, and then we'll return to this Joshua mega card taking place in Saudi Arabia. By the way, that's apparently December, late December. That's when they're saying this is going to take place. Let's go to a phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the like. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. 336, you're on the air. 336, what's on your mind?
Yo, I'm going to make this quick. They got a lot to talk about, especially the Navarrete card. But for the Kumite leader was a fucking joke. He called Lara a Hall of Famer. He said, the Kovalev win was great, but the Valoria win was shit after Valoria hadn't been knocked out in 5 years. Kovalev had been knocked out a year before Canelo beat him. And then he was like, I don't understand how it's my job to, convince a guy who said I was afraid to debate him, to like how Chocolatito's wins are better. So he said between 2013 and 2017 his wins sucked. But Francisco Rodriguez went on to be unified champ after losing to Chaco. What else? He beat Akira Yagashi, who's a lineal champ, went on to be a 3-weight world champion after losing.
Okay, Dora, come on, please, man, you're killing me here. You're killing me.
Dora, when you front load like that, bro, no one can even pay attention to what you're saying, dude, because you talk so fast. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying, Dora. I get what you're saying, but look, at the end of the day, it's just a kumite. Like Pigeon says, the internet.
No, I get it, man. But like, it doesn't make sense when you are claiming to be impartial, but you're doing double standards the entire time. That's all. It doesn't have to make. It doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't have to make sense. It's a YouTube boxing community. Come on, man. But I'll say this. Okay, so you want to
all right, yeah, sure, whatever. Anyways, with the Shakur fight and whatnot, I think Shakur will probably end up winning a boring decision. It could. I mean, even if he loses, he's going to get a robbery to get decision. Conceicao will stop him in between rounds 8 through 10. Or excuse me, Navarrete will stop Conceicao through 8 through 10. And I don't know. That's about it. I kind of don't want to talk anymore, So.
Right, come on, man. Come on. Hey, listen. Give us your thoughts on the Los Santos thing. Didn't you say you expected an upset? Hello? No, he hung up. He was serious about not wanting to talk anymore. Anyway, listen. The internet, like I was gonna say, like Pigeon says, Pigeon, who's full of wisdom. The internet's just a bit of fun, man. Come on, mate. That's it. It's a little bit of fun. It's not the real world, man. Come on. And listen, Joshua said after he got his ass knocked out by Andy Luis, he says, I'm not gonna let this loss define me. And it's like the same thing, Dora. You're letting this what happened in the Kumite define you. There'll be a rematch. You'll get a second shot against somebody else, and then you'll forget all about what happened a couple of days ago. Which, by the way, I've yet to listen to that show. I was busy that day, but I heard that it was fireworks. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 817. 817, you're in the air. 817, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDH? Shazar.
Oh, Shazar, what's up, man?
Just chilling, man. I wanted to say I got a couple things about these fights coming up. I think Wilder versus Parker is a good fight for Wilder, mostly because Parker cannot pull the trigger. Like, you could give that dude the gun and point it at somebody, and that dude wouldn't pull the trigger. Even if he hurts Wilder, he's not going to be able to stop him. So I guess I imagine if Parker's chin's not totally destroyed, it's going to go the distance. Wilder probably went on points. And then I don't know what's going to happen after that with Wilder, but I think it's a good fight. It'll be fun. As far as Joshua switching trainers, I also think that's a good idea. I know I'm from Texas, as a lot of y'all know, and I know the area that they're training out of in Oak Cliff. And AJ's just not built for Texas, man. Like, it's a really thugged out area over there, and it's hot as hell over here, like Gonzalo pointed out. And he's not built for this, man. I don't think he's got the mentality for it. Like, AJ, physically, he's fine, right? But I think it really is mentally. He's mentally fucked up, right? So I think going back over to England and training with freaking boxer-sized Ben, I think it will be good for him. And I think he'll knock out or at least beat Valen. I mean, he was able to land on Usyk, who's a lot more elusive, and it's not like Valen's like a small guy. He's big. I think he'll land on him and do some damage. But I'm very excited for that. I think that's going to be a good fight too. Very good comeback. I wouldn't even call that a comeback fight. I guess that's a good matchup. I would say maybe 60-40 in favor of AJ. And also I just rewatched De Los Santos and the Rayo fight, and I noticed Edwin, he's got angles and he has power in both hands. He was able to drop Rayo with left or right hooks and left straights. So it's not like he's a one punch pony. You know, he can. The dude's got angles, and he can. When he got in close, he was able to drop them with real quick, real tight shots.
Right.
That was really impressive. So if he can get inside and crack Shakir Tweederson, you know, who knows what's going to happen? You know, who knows? I'm looking forward to that fight. I'm hoping he gets the stoppage because I'm tired of that dude.
Yeah, I mean, listen, so there's a little bit of an interplay or war within that community because, like I said earlier, Devin Haney and Tank Davis seem to be the guys that that community is rooting for more than Shakur Stevenson. So Shakur Stevenson looks bad this Thursday. These guys are going to go at him hard. They're going to say he was overrated, he wasn't all that, which I've said before. He's a little overrated, but don't get me wrong, the guy's good. If he struggles against the Los Santos, I mean...
Oh, he's got, yeah.
I don't know, man. Depends on how he looks.
I mean, I don't know. They'll switch sides. They always do. You know, they're all fake fans.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, what do you think about that? Last thing, man, about the Saudi Arabia, the fact that more and more cars are taking place there. These guys are unafraid to lose money there. They just sprinkle and splurge, like Gonzalo said. Is this going to be the future of boxing? Is this going to be the future of Vegas, where these fights take place there because they just have war coffers that they can just open up whenever they want?
Are you talking about them fighting in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think, man, I'm having deja vu. This is weird. I think eventually the Saudis will lose interest in it because they realize there's not as much money in it as they think, and they'll move on to MMA or something like that.
Oh.
Because nobody's going to go over to that country to go watch these fights, and on top of that, you can't drink. You know what I'm saying? It's boxing is a lowbrow sport. You know, like the working class people are supposed to watch it, and working class people want to drink beer and get a little rowdy.
What the hell?
But I mean, I don't know. Like you mentioned earlier, the economy's not good, man. People are going to stop paying these overinflated boxers checks. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, I think it's going to be better for boxing in the long run because the only people that are going to be boxing are the people that actually need it or are good enough to do it. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. As long as these fights take place on television, I mean, I'm in the true north here, Canada.
Yeah.
So what the fuck? I'm not going to be. I can't travel to Vegas every other week. So as long as it's not, the fights take place, whether it's Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Indonesia.
They just got to put it. They got to put boxing back on like regular TV or like stream it on YouTube. It's got to adapt to the times. Like I said, like boxing, it's for the plebeians, right? It's for us. We're not rich people. It's supposed to be entertainment for us, right? And it needs to be easily accessible for the lowest common person. Well, you know, that's why football and baseball is so big because you can just turn the TV on and it's there. You can watch it. You know what I'm saying? But boxing, it's like they're trying to box everybody out from watching it. You know what I'm saying? Like I shouldn't have to go out of my way to watch this sport. You know, it's nuts.
Yeah, that's been the complaint.
It should be very easily obtainable.
Yeah, it used to be that way. That's why it was so big, and then Short Circuit came along, and
exactly, man. That's why everybody watched it.
Yeah, and then Las Vegas came along too with their big site fees, and that was the end of that. But anyway, listen, Shazar, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Exactly. Oh no, thanks. I'm excited for the fight. Good show. Everybody smash the like.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to Shazar, and hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. All right, Shazar, take it easy, man. All right, that was Shazar. He said he was having a deja vu moment. I wonder what that was about. But don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Where are we at right now with the likes? We're not at 100 likes. No, we're not at 100 likes. We're at 78. We are 78 likes. So all we need is a couple more people to hit that like. 12 people, man. 12 people. Hit the like.
We need to get to 100, or BDA is gonna pull up Pigeon's pictures.
Oh,
wait a minute. The email.
No. That's afterwards. That's phase 2. Phase 1 is just. Phase 1 is just this. I told people I wasn't gonna stop doing it. I mean, come on. It's gonna be non-stop, man. It's gonna just be that in different pitches until you guys get us to 100 likes. Yeah, don't forget, fellas, the phone lines are open, so call in if you feel so inclined. Back to what we were talking about earlier here. Joshua, Wallin. I mean, that's a good fight, man. Because Wallin is a bit of a dark
I think those two good fights. Those are two good fights that were announced. Wallin and Joshua, and Parker and Wilder. I think Wilder Parker can beat Wilder, dude. You know, I was talking about this over at Matt Chess channel. This guy, you know, people have been saying, you know, Joshua looks shot, and you know, he doesn't look like the same. He looks like a shell. But that's only, and you know, people saying Wilder's the favorite against him, and Wilder will knock him out. But I think that we've had enough. I mean, we've seen more of Joshua over like a longer period of time for him to look shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compared to Wilder, that you've seen him for 1 minute where you don't know if he looked good or not. I'm pretty sure that full shot too. He's like, he's getting close to 40, bro. So I don't think there's no way he's gonna look sharp in the ring, dude. And him going a little bit slower, you know, all that when you get older, your boxing style shines more and your athleticism fades. So the way you box is more important than, you know, your actual physical attributes. That's why someone like Bernard Hopkins was able to box later into his life because his style prevented him from taking damage. Wilder, all he has is that right hand, dude. And as soon as everything else leaves him and gets worse than what it already is, I think someone like Joseph Parker, not even in his prime, like someone who can move, I think he can see him coming a mile away with every right hand. I think Joseph Parker can beat him, bro.
Interesting. You hit the nail on the head on a couple of things. Where number one, that Joshua being shot thing. I mean, I don't know why people are saying that. This dude still packs a punch. He still has good skills. Even though I think he should have taken Jermaine Franklin out, he still beat him by a substantial margin. He's fought all manner of styles out there. He's fought big punch counter punchers like Andy Luis. He's fought movers like Usyk and Joseph Parker. He's fought shorter guys who come forward like Dillian White. Who else am I forgetting here? There must be Vladimir Klitschko, a long range guy. I mean, he's fought them all. So if Wallin beats him, it's gonna be because he's got something that he really does extremely well, and Joshua just can't handle it. But it's a good test, man. Wouldn't be surprised if Joshua looks awful in that one. And by the way, shout out to Mirage in the chat. He says, what's he saying? He's saying that Santos is knocking out the hype job Shakur. Whoa. And then he says Shakur gets a robbery decision. First of all, Mirage, I gotta tell you something that I've been telling other people. Stop referring to these fighters by their first name. We don't know these guys. What's this? What are they? Buddy with these guys?
It's Kerr. If you're gonna call him something, call him Kerr.
Yeah, that's the new one now. Language is becoming more primitive and guttural. They're just shortening things now. Instead of saying Shakur, like Kerr. I think Kerr, he gonna do it. Kerr. It's get the fuck out of here, man.
Kerr gonna put that work in. Kerr got this.
He's gonna put that work in. Yeah, he bought that life. He moved different. You know, he just moves different.
I'm moving different. This shit ain't nothing to me, man.
That's right. Hey, fellas, listen. I gotta go take a bit of a. I gotta take a little break. You guys take over. You guys take over. I'll be right back.
I was gonna say Shazar said in the chat saying that Joseph Parker couldn't get out the way of Joe Joyce, and I think I brought that up too, dude, earlier. The way Joe Joyce fights and the way Deontay Wilder fights are worlds apart. Joe Joyce actually has stamina. He has a gas tank. He's coming forward the whole time. He's trying to put hands on you. You have the way the way Zhang beat him. That's how you beat him. You gotta kind of knock him the fuck out, because if not, he's gonna keep pressing you and he's gonna wear you down. He's gonna wear you out, and that's what happened to Joseph Parker. Someone like Deontay Wilder, he's looking for one shot, so he's gonna be in there looking for his one shot. It's gonna be obvious to Parker that's going to be more his style of fight. It's going to be slower. It's going to be more thought out. You know what I'm saying? Like, Wilder's just going to be looking for one punch the whole time. He's not going to be throwing combinations. He's not going to be breaking them down. That's how you know what I'm saying? That's how I see the advantage in the mind games right there for Parker as far as the ring IQ goes.
Yeah, I would agree. And Parker's not like an overly big dude, so he's going to preserve some of the mobility. Right, and he used to I'm not saying that his chin is bad, but he used to be regarded as one of the guys with the harder chins. Right, so he's mobile. He's got a pretty sturdy chin. I know he's been stopped before, but like you said, against Joyce, a lumbering dude that carries a lot of weight. If anybody was gonna beat him, was a guy like Big Bang Zilly Zhang, another big dude who also got weight, right, and quickness. That's a tough fight.
Has that fight been made?
Yeah, they're gonna. So what's happening is, since Tyson Fury and Usyk, I think their fight day has been moved to February 17th.
Of course it
The
is.
Saudis are, I think they're suing. I'm not sure. I think they're suing Tyson Fury for reneging on the December 23rd date, but they're still going to use that December 23rd date to put on Wilder versus Parker and Joshua versus Otto Wallin. I guess they're going to set up a fight between them later.
And that's going to be a pay-per-view.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's just fucking outrageous. I'm sorry. Come on. Joseph Parker. He's the fucking cure for excitement. Seriously. That fucking dude, my God. He just is anybody who just and it's another guy who can't punch, who, Wilder can just throw his big bombs from distance. It just becomes so repetitive. It's like, man, is this really what it's going to be like forever until they just completely drive the sport into the ground? Like, what the fuck? What a garbage matchup all around. It's just Jimmy fights. It's just dudes looking to get paid. I'm sorry, Mr. BDA, but just guys looking to get paid. They're used to accustomed to a lifestyle, right? And you're still blowing all that money. You start noticing that bank account shrinking, and you're just going to fucking can you go over the Saudis because a bunch of fucking oil knuckleheads got too much money, don't know what to do with it. Fucking insane.
I just get back here and look, that fight, it's quantity over quality, but Wilder Parker is not a bad fight. I mean, I remember, Jimmy, not for nothing, but you were complaining about Joey Joyce versus Parker too, and that turned out to be a good one. So I'm
because I wasn't sold on Joe. I just wasn't a Joe Joyce fan. I just saw a lumbering kind of dude who kept his head squared up. So I never got excited to watch him. And Parker just bores me to death.
Well, see, that's the problem. You got no respect for the great Deontay Wilder. Because he ain't no Joey Joyce. He's better than that. No, but I get what you're saying, though, that some people were complaining about that, too, in the chat. About
and it's going to be $100, right? Or $80. It's just, and it's not about the money. By no means. It's just a fucking... They need us to finance it on their end. It just, they hide it behind the wall, doesn't grow the sport. There's a reason why when Wilder had his debut in his own hometown, dude, he didn't even barely sell out half the tickets, and they were giving that shit away. You know what I mean?
I was looking for?
It's just craziness.
I was looking for some negatives about this, and you're starting to win me a little bit over there, Jimmy. Yeah, you're right. It's not that... upon closer inspection, the card's it's a bit of a letdown.
10 defenses. 10 defenses. He fought one fucking guy in the top 10. Come on.
Hey, well, Jay Colt in the chat is saying. Jay Colt in the chat is saying Jimmy is too salty. This card is nuts, even if we only get half the fights, and it's on very short notice too.
Only 2 fights I've heard about. I haven't heard about the rest of the card. But Otto Wallin against, I mean, this is just a step back. I mean, think about it. Would you have been excited for Joshua 2 years ago, right? Joshua, Otto Wallin, they would have been like, what the fuck is he fighting? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, because at the time I would have rather seen Usyk versus Joshua, but now that Joshua is kind of a little bit in limbo and reconstruction mode, that Wallin fight's a dangerous fight. Wallin, you could argue the fact that...
Wait a minute. You know who I'm confusing Otto Wallin with? The dude, what's his name just knocked out? Knocked out in the first round. No, I was thinking he's the dude Wilder knocked out in the first round. That's the guy who cut up... No, Otto Wallin's the dude who cut up Fury, right?
Yeah, the Swede.
Okay, all right, yeah, I was thinking about... He took a dive in the first round. What was in my head, I thought Otto Wallin was... So now you see him so down. Wow.
Official scorecard in the chat says, official scorecard says, BDA, you probably have a prime Parker in your mind, a guy that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, maybe you're right, man. Maybe I'm propping this guy up a little bit too much. I don't.
But none of these guys are prime BDA, and Deontay Wilder's one of the older guys. That's what I'm saying. Like the dude, his class, all his training, all the hours he put in the gym, all that muscle memory. That's what is gonna push his career at this point, at his age, bro. And we know he can fucking do any of that, right? So,
I mean, he's desperate to get into the Hall of Fame. I mean, he can't get into what he's accomplished. I mean, what the fuck? The Hall of Fame will completely lose what any respectability it has left. I mean, it's absurd. So, I mean, the fact he's still number one in the WBC When, I mean, the last 3 years, all he's done has been knocked out brutally twice, and some dude took a fucking early night. Wasn't a straight out dive, but I think took a shot and said, I'll use that one. I'm going. You know what I mean? I'm going to fuck it. And so...
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. We're gonna get back to the subject real quick, but somebody's on the phone here on the line. Let's go to 979. 979, you're in the air. 979, what's on your mind?
Hello. What's up, BDA and everyone?
What's
this
up,
is Bruce
979?
from Houston. It's in a little minute.
What's up, Bruce?
I called in. So I'm guessing I'm talking about the heavyweight card happening in Saudi Arabia.
That's right.
AJ and man, you can. All I'm saying is you can tell that Saudis are new to boxing because they made one of the biggest mistakes ever, making a semifinal between 4 heavyweights. Because I mean, I don't know, but like throughout history, this shit never goes as planned, like ever. Like I don't know. I just feel an upset happening to one of these guys, and I think it's more towards Wilder because man, I don't know. Parker's a good tune-up. You know, he fought 1 round in 2.5 years, and then Parker. I mean, I know he got knocked out by Joyce last year, but he's fought like 2 or 3 times after that, and he's gotten knockouts in every fight, and he has no ring rust right now, and unless Wilder can land the right hand in the first 3 rounds, man, Parker might just box him up.
Well, you know what?
I don't know.
Bruce, that's what I was trying to convey here, but that's in a best case scenario. Because Wilder, like Sobers was saying too, this guy is dependent on the power is the last thing to go. But part of what made Wilder successful against the type of guys he fought was he had speed behind it. He's going to be 38 now, and he's been off for a year, so we don't know if that speed's going to be there. So it might just be him with awful technique, winging right hands, and missing continuously against Joseph Parker.
And then getting more and more exhausted,
Man,
like doesn't get out of shape. This dude doesn't do road work.
If Parker,
this dude doesn't run. This dude doesn't jump rope.
Pull back uppercut on him, I don't know.
Yeah,
if
man.
Parker keeps flipping his right hand and launching that uppercut on his jaw, we don't know what Wilder's made of, man, or what. I mean, well, we know what he's made of, but this is the second best guy on his resume, dude.
That's true, man. Yeah.
This is crazy. This is gonna be the second best win on his resume, or maybe even first best win.
Shit.
I mean, Ortiz,
That's
really?
true. That's true, man. Jeez Louise.
I don't know, man.
That's humiliating.
This is a bad matchup in my eyes.
Yeah, that's in Bruce.
He has
that's
45 fights, 10 title defenses, and Joe Parker is gonna be his best name.
man.
That's
We need the De Niro laugh. We need the De Niro laugh for that one.
Yeah.
That is insane, man. This dude, and Luis Ortiz is his best win, and the best guy he's ever fought in Tyson Fury beat his ass 3 times. So, my goodness.
He won like 2 rounds against Fury. The knockout rounds are the only rounds he won against Fury.
That's right. That's right. All right, well, listen, Bruce, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Well, we have a fight Thursday, Shakur and Bill Santos.
Who?
I think Shakur's going to win.
Who?
Shakur Stevenson versus
Stevenson.
Edwin.
Stevenson.
Edwin De Los Santos.
Yeah, Stevenson versus Los Santos. Yeah, there's no Shakur. It's Stevenson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. I think Stevenson's going to win, man, but I wouldn't count out De Los Santos 100%. He has power. He has power in both hands. He also has and he has power with every shot he throws too. Like his jabs have good power hooks. So Shakur's gonna have to stay on his toes, man, the whole fight. And he might have to stink it up too. It might be a Nakatila repeat where he gets hit and then he doesn't want to, engage and shit. But I already know Navarrete is about to fucking smoke Conceicao, dude. He's gonna smoke him and show how you beat him, man. Valdez and Shakur are not gonna You know, man, holy shit, this guy got his ass whooped, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's an interesting card, man. Possibly the best card of the month. So we'll look forward to that one Thursday, the day after tomorrow. All right, Bruce. Listen, man. Good call. Thank you for your call, and call back next. All right, man. Take it easy out there.
All right. Take it easy. Bye.
You too, man. You too.
Yeah, he made a good point, though, right?
Yeah, but the Wilder thing
being his second best. If he wins. Like you said, if he wins, because he doesn't do road work or any of those other things. It's why he was breathing through his mouth. Remember in that third fight, both of them, how terrible condition they were? It was an embarrassment.
Yeah, man. I mean, this. Listen, the silver lining of this card from Saudi Arabia is that supposedly the winners are going to fight each other. Now, Bruce said that things can go wrong, which is true. But how about when it goes right? Like in the WSSB or WBSS, the tournaments that they did. Cruiserweight, the best ended up fighting the best in the final. It was Garcia versus Usyk. In the junior welterweight division, it was Taylor versus Prograis. And in the bantamweight one, it was Donaire versus Inoue. So things can work out. I mean, when everything goes to plan, there's no injuries, blah, 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 the fights ended up happening, and we got an undisputed guy in each division. So hopefully this little tournament.
And Heyman always kept his champions out of those.
There you go.
Except for Donaire, because he was like a late. He came in later. He didn't have the same contract. You know what I mean? He was just basically going. He was like, being advised, but it wasn't the same lockdown. But yeah, that's definitely the best fight of the month, hands down. Get to see Navarrete again. I mean, there's a guy who knows. I mean, we just saw him, right? That wasn't about a few months ago. He's coming right back in it. And he's not taking a slouch either. Going from Valdez to fucking this dude. Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Name anybody in North America.
You bring up a good point. The Valdez fight was on August the 12th. So let's say he took a week off or 2 weeks off. That would have made it the 19th, the 26th. Let's say he returned back to training on the 26th. That's not exactly a long training camp that he's had. That means he trained the rest of August, a couple of days, then all of October, and then only 2 weeks here into November. It's going to get thin a little bit.
Shape. Yep. I mean, this kid he's about to fight is no slouch at all. This is a talented fighter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he just fought in a fight that was a 50-50. Nobody else is doing that. This kid just doesn't get the credit he gets. I think it's starting to finally, I think a lot of light bulbs went on for a lot of people. That it wasn't just this awkward kid, you know what I mean? Like, this kid can really go. He hits hard, he's deceptively strong, and fearless, fucking fearless. He's not afraid to take one to give one. He shows that over and over again. I mean, it's a pleasure when he fights, when I see one of his fights.
Well,
that's
Jimmy,
I'm not going to buy that heavyweight disaster. I don't give a shit what goes down.
This is the third time Navarrete is fighting. Know what I mean? This is the third time Navarrete is fighting. He fought Liam Wilson in the beginning of 2023, Valdez a couple of weeks ago, and then now he's right back in the saddle, like the cowboy he is taking on Conceicao. Do you think that Valdez? Oh shit! Hold on a second. My connection.
This is talented division he's fighting in.
Sorry about that. My connection is a little fucked up here. Okay, sorry about that. My connection was sort of fluctuating. But what do you think?
You were talking? I didn't even hear you, Mr. BDA.
Yeah, I was saying that Navarrete, this is the third time he's fighting this year. Early in the year, he took on Liam Wilson. Then he took on Valdez a couple of weeks ago. Now he's jumping right back on the saddle against Conceicao. That Valdez fight, they tried to make it out as if it was a Mexican shootout, even though he dominated and walked away with a clean face. Didn't take a lot of damage. So do you think it's not too close a time to make another fight?
No, God, no. God, no. This is awesome. He's got his punch calluses, man. He's still got his reflexes. I mean, he can't. I mean, think about it. There would be a reason why all those guys. I mean, if you think about the money they used to make. I mean, again, Hagler, $3,200 was his biggest payday on his 33rd pro fight. You know what I mean? And he was fighting sometimes 7, 8 times. Like, he'd be in a fight, right? And fighting in Springfield, at the end when he's saying goodbye, like, talking to the crowd, I'll be fighting in Boston next month. Come down and see me at the Garden. You know what I mean? Like, next month, he's in another fight because he knew that's how he's going to stay his sharpest. somehow that culture has completely, it just went away. Everything. It's just been a snowball effect. We all know what's going on and what's happening, and we're seeing the results. And now that's why guys like Navarrete, who knows, he's going to be like, this will put him in the best condition to fight anybody at the top now, because he's fighting good guys often. He's going to have his reflexes. Yeah, his punch calluses, all that shit. This is smart. He might be making moves here. Who knows? He might be maybe thinking about jumping up another weight and taking on, But good for him. Doing the sport proud.
He's has a very good resume, and still some people have Tank Davis over him pound for pound, which is unbelievable.
It's because their boxing knowledge could fit on the back of a fucking postage stamp.
Come on. But Jimmy, I wanted to bring this up to you. And Never Sobers too, because you guys weren't here when we were talking about this. We were talking about the mega card in Saudi Arabia, and it was Coppinger recently came out with that news today. But then Dan Rafael tweeted, tagged Coppinger and said, because Coppinger said that according to sources, this fight is taking place, and Rafael tweeted at him, not even tweeted at him, but just copied the tweet and said, sources, in quotation marks, sources, LOL, LOL, LOL. What a fraud. What do you think? What's going on here between Rafael and Coppinger?
So he was probably was told. Maybe Dan told him in a tweet in a DM. They were talking. Maybe Dan said, "I'm going to tweet it out." Who tweeted it out first? Did Dan?
I don't know,
Rafael,
man.
or
I don't know.
Or he's questioning his, or I think it could have been wrong a lot. You know what I mean? And especially when he was doing the pay-per-view things for the, and now Dan's doing that. Dan, disgusting. He's become such a shill. He will openly, knowingly lie to the boxing public and then tagging Steven Espinoza and tagging Leonard Ellaby to like monkey pile on a fan. Like, you fucking clown. Seriously, dude. You wouldn't do that if you were unless you knew you were lying. You wanted to take some of that filth, that guilt you have, shit that he would post, co-sign that he knew wasn't true.
Hey, shout out to Matt Chad in the chat for jumping in here. But by the way, Never Sobers, you and Matt Chad are cool, or what was it the latest I heard? Because there seems to be a little strife.
Yeah, me and Matt Chad always been okay, bro. What's up, Matt Chad?
Cool. Yeah, shout out to Matt Chad. Yeah, because that's a tavern. I get conflicting reports sometimes. Oh, these guys are beefing. Those guys are blah, 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 blah. But the tavern, that is the place to be when it's open at night, especially. That's where all the action takes place. So everybody go check out Matt Chad, the Matt Chatter. You'll have a good time over there. Good prices too. Good food. Just all around good people. What else was I want to talk? Oh yeah, that whole thing, Jimmy. That's a given nowadays with these writers. They're all fighting amongst each other. Who broke the story first? Who gets? Oh, my sources are telling me this. My sources are telling me this. I got sources up the ass. But my question about the Saudi Arabia thing is this: from a boxing fan's perspective, boxing, when it went into the short circuit, it went away from the networks, NBC, CBS, all those. So that was one barrier for boxing fans. Then the site fees from Las Vegas. So a lot of big fights started taking place in Las Vegas, inaccessible to the average fan. Now they're moving way to the other side in Saudi Arabia, but at least they're happening. What are the pros and what are the cons that you guys see of this new trend where potentially Saudi Arabia is going to become, no pun intended, the mecca of boxing?
It's just continuing to throw dirt on American boxing. I mean, it's what it is. I used to go to Atlantic City to watch heavyweight championship fights. Then they went exclusively because the fees just went up and the economy went completely south in Jersey. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, it's disgusting and it's behind a paywall. I mean, it's not growing the sport in any business. I don't give a fuck if you're selling shoelaces or, you're putting on professional sport and entertainment. If you're not growing, you're dying. Simple as that.
Yeah, man, but that's what I'm saying. That what are the positives and what are the downsides? Because the downside is, I mean, that's with American boxing. But I mean, look, it's boxing is not dependent on any one country. I mean, if America stops being the mecca of boxing or whatever, which some would argue it's not even, it never really was in the last 20 years. But the point is that the fights happen. that this guy, because that's what they always say. Oh, well, I'm not staying active because there's no TV dates, blah, blah, blah. If these Saudis are willing to just splurge, like Gonzalo said, and they can hold a bunch of cards consistently, hey, that's more boxing now for all of us.
Oh, I understand. And I'm not one of those people, you hear me talk up anyway about people going to fight in Japan because of the size of his crowds, and I understand it's worldwide. But American is the filthiest, richest country, right? And we blow money and put on these spectacles. These could happen anywhere else in the world. They just don't. They're not happening. There's a reason for it. I mean, except for England. England puts on big bashes, but that's a small country. It would just really suck if this country, I mean, it's already, not taking it out of the Olympics, not doing American boxing anymore. It just, I don't know what the fuck, man. Sometimes makes my head spin. Sad.
What does everyone else think? Saudi Arabia, this move to Saudi Arabia, the money that they're bringing in, we could potentially see some fights that usually wouldn't happen because of the money.
I don't know, BDA. Would you trust them to be more fair than where they say Las Vegas, if that's where the current Mecca is? Do you think they would be more or less corrupt than the Americans?
It's a good question. That's a good question. I don't even know how much stock they put into putting on actually good events. I mean, do they care about whether a guy gets robbed or not? I guess we'll see with this card. I mean, again, there's so many fights on that card that boxing fans are familiar with, those guys. So there should be a lot of boxing guys on that card, and we'll see if there's any shenanigans afoot, any hijinks. We'll see how the Saudis respond to that. But I don't know.
Yo, I think I've seen a couple of these Saudi Arabia cards.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a couple of them for the UFC, like when they do MMA. And I think one of their last cards they had, I think it was in Abu Dhabi. They had straight Muslims versus a lot of Brazilians, and the crowd and the officials, dude, they were kind of funny. When the guy was landing low blows, like low kicks, to his opponent, the crowd would be cheering it, and then like the guy said, "Okay, I got to stop" because he got hit in the balls. Obviously, they started you could see in real time it was a very hard low blow. And then they started, the crowd started booing the guy's reaction because he was like visibly he was reacting to, he was like rolling around, like, his eyes were opening. He was like gagging, like when you really get hit hard as fuck in your balls.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd didn't like how he was reacting. They started playing like a doctored clip of the low blow where they try to show a picture of it after it made contact and he was pulling his leg back. So it looked like he kicked him in the lower thigh and not in his balls. You know what I'm saying? And then the doctor who was supposed to be checking on the fighter, he was telling the fighter to get up, you're okay, stop faking. He was trying to push him to continue. And the dude couldn't continue. Like, the fight was over, bro. But he was there for about 5 minutes trying to tell him, like, hey, man, you're good, man. Get up. You know what I mean?
Some, I think maybe they have like a sport over there where they stand there and they kick each other in the nuts.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. The crowd was loving it when their guy did it, and then when the guy couldn't continue, they were booing him, and like they played some funny replays that were that weren't real, like not real, but like they were like tampered with, and then the doctor was acting funny with the fighter. They really wanted their guy to put on a show, and it happened like a minute into the fight, but like it's not the guy's fault.
Well, listen, let me ask you guys a question. Maybe it's because I'm heavily medicated, but can somebody tell me when was there really actually a fight that has taken place in Saudi Arabia that, like, we, got to see that we probably wouldn't have seen anywhere else? Or was that important? There may have been one. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, maybe I think Usyk Joshua.
That was a good one.
Yeah, but I mean, again, in Saudi Arabia, man, it wasn't a very good lively crowd. That's another thing that sucks. They tend to sit on their hands. Nothing like Germany. I swear to God, I think they dig up the
get
fucking
excited when one of their guys fighting. You know what I mean? They get excited when it's their guy fighting and their guy winning. So if Joshua was whooping on Usyk, they probably would have been going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, when Joshua had Usyk in a little bit of trouble with the body shots in the rematch, I think I heard some AK-47s in the crowd. But you're right, though.
I heard a couple bombs going off.
That's the only downside that I could think of right off the bat about the fights in Saudi Arabia is that you don't get the crowd. Like, for example, if Joshua against Wilder in the UK, holy smokes, in the O2 arena, They jam pack that shit in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's gonna be a crowd, but then again, like I said, are we prepared to sacrifice that as long as we get the fights that we want to see? And again, it remains to be seen whether they're even going to be able to do that. Will they actually be able to deliver the fights that we want to see with those big financiers that they have and the work coffers that I talked about earlier? So we shall see, man. We'll see how this card looks. It could be a shit show, but hey, we'll see.
And this is all just to the final end of Wiley. He's looking for one more big payday out the door. He wants that Joshua money that he turned down by his own admission to give Fury a chance. When he turned down over $100 million. I took less money to fight you. He said it right at the press conference, man. Came right out of his own mouth, and he even tweeted it. You know? He turned down that fucking that Fury, that Joshua when he was undefeated still. That was before he got, sparked out by Ruiz. So now to turn around, and especially the shit he pulled with Klitschko, the way he blew up that unification fight, and then, wanting that money, and then, for 2 or 3 years after, what's his name, his manager telling people, he's just a baby. Come on, he's the WBC champ, mind you. He's just a baby in the sport. I mean, the stuff they would say to avoid him fighting anybody while feasting on one no-hoper after another and getting sold as, you know what I mean? It's just crazy. Yeah, but it's
he's
still at it, almost 40 years old, trying to get paid.
Yeah, man, that Wilder fight has been a constant, ridiculous event, a circus that we've been seeing for the last couple of years. But again, it's interesting. I'm going to keep my eye on the Saudi Arabia thing because it could be a monumental change in the boxing business. It might end up, again, I don't know if I'm exaggerating, but it could end up being another one of the major boxing revolutions. First radio, TV, short circuit, the internet, and now this. The fact that these fights would move over there and they might actually be able to pull them off. So we'll see what happens. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. It really helps us out. And we got a phone call here. Let's go to 510. 510, you're in the air. 510, what's on your mind?
What's up, Jimmy? What's up, BDA? Shout out to Recognize. Shout out to Pete. Just came to call in about the Shakur fight and then, other comments about the Saudis.
What about Never Sobers?
Who?
Never Sobers.
Nah, dude, honestly, I don't dislike you, but you kind of a Canelo dick rider, so it is what it is, man. I don't really... Whatever, man. Anyways,
who is this,
let me just say this.
Hold on, who is this?
This is Mr. Booty Juice, the one and only.
Mr. Booty Juice, the one and only with the best name in the YouTube boxing community.
Man, come on. Hey, man, I'm going to call Campos to come handle you, dog. Call me Canelo dick rider, dude. I'm about to get Campos up in here, bro.
Hey, call him on a pick right now. Yeah, call him. Handle me what? He's not going to do jack shit. Fuck him, too. Anyways, let me just say this real quick.
He already put
Shakur, the Stevenson fight.
Hold on, fellas. We'll get back to that. Let's get back to what you were going to say initially, and we'll see if we continue this. Go ahead, Mr. Booty.
Yeah, fuck Campos. Yeah, all right. Like I was saying, the Shakur fight, hopefully, I want to see Shakur get knocked out. I think pretty much, there's not a lot that can be broken down, really, that you guys haven't really talked about. I can't think of anything, so hopefully Shakur gets knocked the fuck out. I don't like him. I don't really see, why people still like the guy, but it is what it is, so I'm just, I'm not really religious, but I can only hope. I'm just throwing it out there to the universe, whatever the fuck you want to call it, whatever, bullshit, whatever, Anyways, and then with the Saudi thing, honestly, it can go kind of good, but the problem is that I see, the Saudi, first of all, fuck the Saudis too. They're just doing this because they want to attract people to their country. Apparently, this is an economical plan that the Saudi ministry, whatever, that the fucking guy in charge of the of making policy in the Saudi royal, whatever, sovereign state, whatever. This is just an economical plan. People buy into it. I don't know. If you have money, why not throw at it, But I think overall it won't be good. I think we're going to see the same old bullshit. We're going to see dudes just bring about subpar performances and then just get paid a lot of money for it. So, hopefully I'm wrong because I for sure want to see a better boxing landscape. I'm tired of hearing about faggot ass Canelo. I'm tired of hearing about these dudes just constantly talk about that guy. There's people like Inoue out there that that's the pound for pound number one. That's the fucking guy that you want to see. That's the guy that delivers the fights. Period. I mean,
hey, bro, I just gotta say,
you know what I mean,
Mr. Booty Loose. I gotta say, bro, you're the only person who brought up Canelo today.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean, though, dude. Regardless, this guy's been brought about in every conversation, dude. So it is what it is. Like you like dick riding him. Look, man, I don't dislike you, man, but you dick ride him. So whatever. It's the same shit with Gonzalo. Gonzalo dicks ride him. It is what it is. You dick ride him.
So okay,
what do you
bro.
want me to
Since
say?
you're paying attention to what I say so much, Mr. Booty Loose, if you pay attention to what I say so much, you would have heard me on the Kumite voting against Canelo on that, for Gonzalo.
Mr. Booty Juice.
So you can kiss my ass.
Mr. Booty Juice. You must be confusing me for Campos. That's Campos, actually. That's Mr. Booty Loose right there. Go ahead, sorry.
He told me he made you Mr. Booty Loose.
Oh, come on, what the fuck? What's going on here, man? What's going on here? this call got into
yeah, I found hard to believe, bro. Just like whatever, man.
Hey, by the way,
it is what it is, man.
By the way, Booty Juice, Bivol is also set to fight in that Saudi Arabia card. By the way.
Yeah, I don't like that fight. By the way, yeah, that's what I was going. Good thing you reminded me of that. Yeah, I don't like the fight, but I mean, he's probably getting what he can. Hopefully, he can make a positive. Whoever's in charge of him to guide him directly. I mean, he should have picked up. I agree with like the other critiques other people have said about Bivol. Like he should have picked up as soon as he fought, beat the shit out of Canelo when he smacked the shit out of him. When he like spanked him, he should have just like taken that momentum. But the politics, the WBO, the current Russia bullshit. I don't know why people ignore that too. Why do people dig at him for just the American sentiment right now is like Russia bad. No matter what the Russians do, they're bad because of the war, because of the invasion. It is what it is. Unfortunately, this shit has gone into politics, but that's the name of the game, man. I mean, you're dealing with a organization of people that are willing to just fuck other people or cut them, give them short deals, and he's getting what he can get. But like I said, hopefully he fights. Hopefully he gets paid. He's a talented guy. I enjoy his performances. I know you don't like him for whatever reason, but I mean, what's more to say about that?
Just to clarify, who are you saying dislikes him here?
I think you kind of dislike him overall. You're not impressed by him. I don't know why you wouldn't be, but you made comments. You never made like disparaging. Wait, you never made disparaging comments, but you were just always like, oh, whatever. Like he's okay. Like when you critiqued him about like when I mentioned that you guys were kind of trying to say that Bivol doesn't go for it and go for the knockout. He does go for it. He's not even his style right now, right? Obviously, he hasn't stylistically changed at all because he's textbook. There's two class. There's essentially like two schools of thoughts in the Russian commie bloc, whatever the fuck you want to call it, school, right? There's like the guys that they cater to for like power punchers, like Bitterbiev, and then the guys that they have knockout power, but they don't have like that organic strength to just knock people the fuck out, and that's what Bivol is. But even with his style, he's knocked people out. Even he's fight like how you mentioned, he fought the same way for the last 15 fights. Or let's say you want to include Zem's career. Let's include this fight too. He still knocked those people out. He's knocked a lot of people out, but whatever.
Okay, but just to clarify,
yeah.
Well, can I just clarify what you said about me? You first of all, you said I think you talked down Bivol, so you don't even have any concrete evidence. Second of all, if you rewatch the category rankings show that we did about 2 weeks ago, he was nominated a lot for a lot of the categories, and we actually ended up voting for him to win about two of them, I think. So we give him his credit here. I don't know what you're referring to there, but if that's what you think, I'm not going to try to convince you.
I'm not saying you don't give him credit.
I think you start being a Bivol dick rider, bro. Just keeping it real.
Nah, I don't think that's what it is. I think I just recognize the skill. I mean, it's not. I'm not a Slav. I'm not part of the Eastern comic bloc. I have no relations to that country whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. I might have fucked some Russian chicks, but that's about it. But aside from that, I have no connections to that fucking side of the world. But I respect they're bringing out a lot of good guys. Bivol, Berterbiev, Lomachenko. I mean, what's the argument here? Am I wrong? Am I stupid for that too? Am I a dick rider for that too?
for recognizing they're at the top for a good reason, right? And also, there's another fucking Slav that's come over from the Eastern Bloc.
Real quick,
that's really good.
Hold on. Let Jimmy talk. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, two things. Well, first, I was going to say that. Yeah, no, Booty Juice. Mr. BDA's been as high on Bivol as anyone, for real. But that's neither here nor there because, like, you already put that's true. But also, Bivol's going to take some blame for this, though. I've never seen a career like he just beat Canelo. Nobody outside of this, really, honestly, this panel and a handful of fucking pundits had given Bivol a chance. And so he was riding high. To sit there and let himself just fizzle, listen, fight anybody. Go out and fight anybody. But for him to hang out knowing that Bob was poo-pooing that fight for whatever reason, Bob was shunning him, didn't want Bivol. I think he knew better Bivol was injured. And I think that's why, looking back now, because it reported that he is injured. But anyways, he's going to take responsibility for that. He completely let his fucking momentum die on the vine. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, bro, he sure did, bro.
Sure.
What's that?
But I agree with that.
I said this before, dude. I'll say it again. Mr. Booty Loose, Bivol beating Canelo was the absolute worst thing that ever happened to him in his life, dude. He done lost his career. He about half lost his career, and he done lost his family. His wife done left him. This fool's out here partying, doing cocaine.
Who cares?
He's doing cocaine and shit. You know what I mean? Like, he can't get a fight. He thinks he's worth more than he is now.
People still talk
He's
about
fighting himself out of fight.
He lost his family. Oh boy.
Huh?
Well, no. Well, Solver said that he lost his family because of the Canelo fight. Bivol lost his family because
it happened
of winning.
right afterwards. Weird.
I mean, hey, listen.
Did he really get caught doing coke?
Who cares?
Or was that just joking around?
You talk, see, no,
it was
about the whole
serious.
thing kind of shit. You talk about shit that
relevant
to the boxing conversation.
Oh, no shit. I didn't hear that. No shit.
All right. Well, listen. We gotta move on. We gotta move on to another phone call here. But Mr. Booty Juice, would you be willing to go after Chingasos or Never Sobers in the next Kumite?
I want to see
not really. I mean, that's also what I was going to comment about Dora. Like the fact that that wasn't cool. You know, shout out to Dora, aka the Fire Fist. You know, I appreciate his diligence to like actually speak about boxing and like him having a fair take on a lot of the fighters. I think that's what he was trying to get across at that point. You know, that because I've said this before. I was one of the first one to call in and say, you guys give him a lot of credit for the fighters that he's fought at the time that he's fought them. I used those exact words to describe Canelo's career and why I dislike him, aside from the dick riding bunch of fucking Fruit Loops that are in the chat and all throughout the world, and especially out here in California, both in Northern California and Southern California. He's fucking pester everywhere, but I've declared that and I've said that. So,
Yeah, no, I don't know
the
what
only
that
person
was.
the only person that Bivol's been getting in the ring with lately is his wife, dude. He's been getting some good rounds in with her.
Come on, man. You had to go there. Yeah, Booty Juice, you gotta admit, that's a good one, man. That's a good one, that right there, that he just scored. That's a classic.
You've guys seen the photos, right? Where she put photos on the internet where she's like, this fool hit me, and you made your dad lie about it, and you lied to my family about it or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Listen. Yeah, well, listen, Booty Juice, we gotta move on here, but always appreciate your fire, your call, your candor, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
Yeah, shout out to Dora. Shout out to Dora. All
right. Take it easy. All right.
He's that irrelevant, man. He gets coke and beats up his wife, and I didn't even hear about it. That's sad. Talk about losing his momentum.
Yo,
I don't know
so
about the
next
coke
time Dora does a Kumite, we're gonna let Booty Loose be one of his judges, right?
Oh, come on. Stop calling him Booty Loose. Come on, man. Booty Loose. All right. Shout out to JVX.
First, bro.
Yeah, you're right. All's fair in love and war. JVX88, shout out to him for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, Bivol won't get credit for beating Beterbiev. Too old. Well, it remains to be seen. We'll see how Beterbiev... First of all, Beterbiev has to get past Callum Smith. If that fight even takes place, you never know when Beterbiev is going to get injured. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 410. 410, you on the air. 410, what's on your mind?
What's up, fellas? Canelo. Bivol's upset victory over Canelo is probably, in my estimation, in the grand scheme of things, one of the most overlooked upsets in boxing history. He beat Canelo resoundingly, probably 9-10 rounds to 2, maybe even a full shutout. But it didn't make any kind of difference. Bivol hasn't been able to expound on that victory, and Canelo just moved right on, getting paid and fighting fights. And so while Bivol, credit to him, he beat Canelo and he beat him conclusively, he didn't beat him up, but he beat him. That's clear. Really hasn't added up to a pile of shit for Bivol, really. So I don't know what to make of that. I just joined onto the show, but, just a couple more things. Benavidez and Andrade. Andrade, this guy has gotten a lot of praise from fighters and critics. I mean, he's managed to stay undefeated, this guy, but I've rarely ever been impressed with him. And this is his opportunity against Benavidez. This is, I think he's 35, 36. The years have went by on him. He hasn't had any marquee opponents. He's in there tough against a monster because fucking Benavidez is a monster. Make no mistake. Andrade probably has the tools to pull off an upset, but if he doesn't come with the right mentality, if he tries to pot shot and move and pot shot, I just don't think that's going to get it for him. He's going to have to really back up some of the talk and the hype that he's gotten. This is his big opportunity. It's long awaited, so I'm expecting the best of both of those fighters. Benavidez knows that he's as close as he's likely going to get to the Canelo fight. He seems to have been making weight easy the last couple of fights. I expect the best from him. He knows what he's up against. And, I think that should be a good fight. Lastly, Tank Davis. I'm from Baltimore. I'm a big Tank Davis fan. I've had it with his shit. If he doesn't fight one of the top guys, all that talent there, 135, yeah, all that fucking talent there, 135 and 140, enough is enough. You take Devin Haney, Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez, who I know has since moved up to 140, but Tank's fought at 140. That's not out of the question. And take George Kambosos, who I've never really considered George a top 5 lightweight, but he did have the titles and he got them honest. He beat the guy, honestly, who had them, and Lopez honestly beat the guy who had them prior. So I think George, I've never had him in a top 5 lightweight, but I'm going to include him. George has fought Devin Haney, and he's fought Teofimo Lopez. Lopez has fought Lomachenko, and he's fought Kambosos. Haney has fought Kambosos, and he's fought Lomachenko. There's 8 fights. Tank fucking Davis hasn't fought one of those fucking guys. Not one. And he's the linchpin. He's the guy that can make any of those fights happen. So while I like Tank, and he's an exciting fighter, face-up boxing, my ass. He needs to step up, and I'm not buying any more of his fights unless he fights one of those guys. You feel me?
I feel you, man. I think the whole world concurs with the whole world of boxing.
Can I just do one correction, though?
Yes.
David Benavidez is no longer the Mexican monster. He wants to be known as El Monstruo.
Oh,
because he doesn't want to alienate his Ecuadorian side.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. Well, listen, Jerry, man, great call.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but let's be honest. Benavidez was born in Arizona. He's really American. He has Latin lineage. I get that. I have Irish lineage, but he was born in the United States. He's a born American. So Canelo, I'm a Canelo fan, but when he said in the past he doesn't want to fight Mexicans, that ain't going to work with Benavidez because he's not really Mexican to that degree. You know what I mean? Plus, there's talk of Canelo fighting Jamie, what's his name, Munguia, who is Mexican.
That was taken out of context, bro. That was taken out of context by dudes on YouTube that like to twist things around.
All right, well, be that as it may,
But
Jerry,
how so? When he says, I don't want to fight Mexicans, what other context can you take it?
I'll tell you. I would love to tell you. So when Canelo said that, he said, look, man, I'm on top of the world now. I'm undisputed. And I'm not interested in beating up on any other Mexicans. I want to put on for my entire country against the world. I want to face other people. I want to face guys from other countries and show Mexico's talent against the world. That doesn't mean he's completely opposed to the.
Yeah, well, you know what, though,
Mexicans.
bro? That's just too convenient. I never heard Julio Cesar Chavez say that. I never heard him say that, and I didn't hear Canelo say that when he fought Chavez's son
Canelo
for a
wants to say
big
Mexico
payday.
against the world. That's what he was saying.
But he was saying that before Benavidez even became a thing. Yeah, before he was even Canelo said that years ago too. He doesn't because he doesn't want to take shine away from if it says an up and comer coming up Mexican fighters. He wants them to achieve, pulling for his Mexicans. So I think he said something along those lines back in 2017.
If he fights Manguia in his next fight, that's going to make those words as irrelevant as they were when he said them. I never heard Chavez say, "I don't want to fight any Mexicans."
Yeah, but he didn't say, "I'm not going to fight."
That
he just
doesn't
said, "I
flush with
prefer
me."
not to."
Well, listen, I'll say this to end because we got to move on here. I'll say this, man, because we got to move on. Canelo will say certain things one day and then do another thing the next. I don't know why he does it. I don't know if he does it to drum up interest or whatever. But he's gonna fight Benavidez if Benavidez gets past Andrade. That I'm pretty sure about. So unless a Crawford money sways him, but we'll see what happens, man. Anyway, listen, we gotta move on here. But good call, Jerry, as always, and call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, he went out to everybody.
One last thing, BDA. I'm just gonna mention it's not like the divisions is stacked with other Mexicans. There's not many Mexicans in those divisions anyhow.
Come on.
All right. Don't forget to hit the like.
I didn't understand that angle of that.
Well, that's been a point of contention since he said it, and I think Sober said, it gets twisted around.
But he also didn't fight black. Remember, he also didn't fight black fighters.
He was scared of black undefeated fighters, bro.
Yeah, so he only fights Canadians and some parts of Eastern Europe.
Well, I mean, you saw what happened when he fought the undisputed junior middleweight champion. The guy spent the whole night running. So, fellas,
that don't care. He wasn't undefeated.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the one loss. Yeah, you're right. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. It really helps us out. Hit the like. Let's get it to 120. Doesn't take much. 120 really helps us out. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind? 323, you're on the air.
Yo, what up, BDA? What up, BDA? What up, man?
Yo, what's up, man? What's cracking?
Yeah. I just got a comment about that JDA dude on your panel.
JDA is not on the panel right now,
I kind of get the feeling like this guy's always talking shit about black boxers.
Is that right?
Yeah, what I'm saying, a little comment here and there. I try to listen to your channel from time to time, man. Cause you cool Mexican dude, but JDA, man, I don't like this nigga. You know what I'm saying? You talking shit about the coach all the time.
Well, wait a minute. Let's clear this up. Is it possible that you have that feeling, that outlook about Joe because of the fact that he has that very thick Boston accent? Is that sort of like something that throws off the brothers or something and makes them think, hey, this guy might not like Afro-Anglos?
Well, he might have the big thick Boston accent, you know what I'm saying? But he sounds like a little man to me, you know what I'm saying? He sounds like about 5'7", you know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, listen. The stories that Joe's told us indicate that he's not a guy who backs out of anything, if you know what I mean. I mean, I'll tell you the little story real quick. He was jogging in New York because that's where his residence right now, and he's made that clear. I'm not doxing him or anything. And he saw the one and only Anthony Weiner jogging, and he was sitting down. And I don't know if people are familiar with Anthony Weiner. He's the one that texted a bunch of underage girls and all that, former politician. And Joe stared him down and flipped him the finger. Now, what do you think about that, caller? Does that sound like a guy that's ducking the smoke, as they like to say?
Yeah. I ain't gonna waste my time on your show talking about that GDA guy. I want to go ahead and say the other guy, the sober dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. He's here now.
Yeah. He another one. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
He another one. I'll be listening to him with the shit he say. You know what I'm saying? I call him out any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
And twice on Sunday. That's a lot of work right there. Sobers, you got anything to say to the caller here? Calling you out a little bit.
Love, peace, and chicken grease, my brother.
Come on. Now, wait a minute. What's going on here?
Hey, VDA, I'm just looking around. This is Benzo.
Who is this?
It's Benzo.
What's up, Benzo? Yeah, some people already had you pegged in the chat, man. But anyway, what's up, man?
Hey, shout out to everyone. Shout out to everyone.
You should have kept going with the character. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, but you should just
I
hug up, bro.
was gonna say, the whole Bivol thing, bro. Yeah, I kind of agree. This guy just he won, and then he just he fell into obscurity, bro. No one cares about him.
I mean, look, he's going to be fighting in Saudi Arabia. He's been off for a year. I don't know. It seems like he got hit with the Fighter of the Year curse. Almost all of these guys that end up winning Fighter of the Year, they end up afterwards having they say the fall comes hardest after the... No, what's the saying? Yeah, anyway, after the peak, there's the fall or something like akin to that. So, seems like that's what happened with Bivol.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like he should have taken the position of talking shit to Canelo. Like get under his skin, try to get that second fight. That would have probably, gotten him some more money for sure, right? And then and kept him relevant in that. Just like Benavidez, bro. Like him and his daddy were talking a bunch of shit to Canelo, like being tough guys, and then they realized like this guy's the one that's going to choose who he feeds. So now they're cool, and now they're trying to be nice, because they want the money. And it is what it is, bro. Canelo earned that spot. You know what I'm saying? He's not the first one. Mayweather was doing that same shit.
Yeah,
that's a privilege of being at the top.
Yeah, I mean, that we don't have to like it, but unfortunately, that's why I say people have to complain. I know we're most of us are taught from a young age not to complain, but right now as boxing fans, that's all we can do: complain and show how we feel with our pocket. Meaning, we will not pay for certain fights and let these people know. Hey, by the way, recognizing the chat says, "Tell Benzo I heard his 20% clearly." What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't get it.
Benzo, there's a rumor going around saying that you look like Guillermo Rigondeaux, fool. That's true.
This is my morning. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to my stepson, Cuauhtemoc in the chat. He's my stepson.
Oh, come on, man.
Just a shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? Love to his mama. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. Peace out.
All right. Shout out, Benzo. Shout out to you, man. I still maintain that he should have continued staying on character, so we could have used that later on. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. Hey, shout out to Joe, the aforementioned Joe in the chat. Joe is saying, fuck Benavidez. He's not a monster, and Canelo signed a 3-fight deal with the PBC. He's not fighting Munguia next. Well, Joe, stranger things have happened with Canelo. I mean, he fought Julio Chavez Jr. for Pete's sakes. I mean, that's a fight that I didn't want to see as a hardcore boxing fan, and yet they still pulled it off. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
Well, I think he means that Munguia is not with the PBC. So Al Heyman is definitely not going to make the Munguia fight because he won't make 15% on Munguia's purse. That's all he cares about. It's got to be someone from the PBC, someone he has control of.
That's what I wanted to get to here a little bit, Jimmy, because there's rumors on Twitter floating around that the PBC really it's been about a month now since they announced the whole that they might have been going to Amazon. We still haven't heard any news about that. No PBC fighter, very few of them actually, have even announced a fight yet, that they have a fight schedule. So it's looking grim. But now there's a rumor, Jimmy, that Top Rank and Golden Boy Promotions are cutting their roster, cutting costs, as it were. What have you heard anything about that?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard that those guys are cutting, rosters. I would imagine they're trying to, unless they're making spots, because I think the PBC guys are eventually going to, because again, he has to have at least give an opportunity for these guys to fight.
Mm-hmm. So you're thinking they're clearing up spots to maybe
when they say that, well, Canelo, Showtime will still do pay-per-views. They'll still do a pay-per-view. It's done. December 31st or 30th, it's all done. Like those guys, everybody who would normally be there, the guys, with the cameramen, the producers, all the people in the boxing world are done. I mean, they're no longer with Showtime. They'll have no apparatus to even do it. That's why they've made sure to send out that, statement saying, no, PBC is completely out of, boxing, Showtime rather. So he, as of and this is why he's trying to stack those cards like.
All right.
He's the only guy who doesn't put in X amount of fights per fighter. I just want to say that too. Everybody else does.
You're cutting off.
Am I sorry?
Yeah, try to jump out and jump back in, man. because otherwise maybe that'll help. But yeah, man, we'll see what happens with the PBC right now. There seemed to be that seemed to have been a rumor, the whole Netflix thing. Oh, Jimmy's back. All right, so Jimmy, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying PBC fighters are the only guys who don't have even the reason why Arum had to pay Crawford $6.5 million opposed to just the regular 3.5 guaranteed, because over the period, like you say, you promise 2 fights a year. If you don't, you can tack that on. Okay, can we we'll fold it over? I'll pay a penalty, yada yada yada. So when his term was up, when he was going to leave Bob, he cashed out. He said, "Listen, you were supposed to pay me. I was supposed to get this many fights under this and this duration, and I didn't get it." So that's another thing. He held Bob's feet to the fire. That's why I think Bob said a lot of that stupid shit about I could have bought a house in Beverly Hills for what I lost on him, because not only didn't he take a haircut on the during the empty stadium COVID bullshit. He said it was 1 month shy. So for that 1 month, it cost Bob another $3 million. And but again, every fighter has that in their contracts. That's part of the normal I'll give you X amount of dates, but not Heyman fighters. So they have no recourse to even get them. And they can't say nothing publicly because they all sign a non-disclosure. So they could be at home fucking steaming mad. They can't say nothing.
Man, what a nightmare for these guys. But I mean, hey, that's what happens. They got sweet talked into it. I mean, I gotta tell you, Al Heyman seems to be a silver tongued devil because of the way that he could cajole these guys into these contracts. I mean, anyway. The point is, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, or we're ending this show. That's just the way it is. Because I said, get us to 120. We're 112. 8 more likes, and we get to 120.
Floyd was in on those conversations too, Mr. BDA. You know he was sitting here with the fucking $1 million watch on and the diamonds, with the video going in the background. You know how much money we made? 4 million pay-per-views. This could be you. You know what I mean? I'm telling you. Because he got them all to go over, jump ship almost simultaneously. Remember Golden Boy? He took them all out.
Well, that's why it's going to be... That's why it's going to be ironic if a lot of those guys end up back with the Golden Boy. Although some of those guys are kind of shopborn now. I mean, in terms of their cachet, Garcia is closer to retirement than when he was.
What PBC fighter ended up well? I'm going to post that question to you. Anybody else wants to answer? Name the PBC fighter since that dumpster fires fucking started that has gone right. Look at all the elite champions. Just I'll go for answer like that. And I'm posing a question: whose career trajectory went well?
That is an excellent question. Hopefully somebody can answer, man. We'll let that question simmer there a little bit, Jimmy, and then we'll get back to it. Meanwhile, let's go to a phone call here. Go ahead, Gonzalo, and then we got to take a phone call.
I was going to say, as far as the ones that fought for pay-per-view, yeah, they made money. But as far as legacy, probably none of them. Maybe Jermell Charlo, but we saw what happened with Canelo when he moved up.
Yeah, Jermell was able to get himself a lot of good wins in that division in junior middleweight. Errol Spence, maybe. I mean, he did beat Ugas, Porter, and Garcia, but then that shellacking that he took against Crawford really seems to put a damper on the party. All right, let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 817. 817, you're on the air. 817, what's on your mind?
Yo, it's Shazar again. I was listening in, and NPR guy reminded me about the freaking Benavidez fight coming up. And I'm going to go ahead and predict. I hope I'm wrong. This is going to be one of the most boring fights, worst fights of all time.
Oh.
I truly believe this. Benavidez and Andrade are clowns. They're fucking clowns. Benavidez is a cruiserweight pretending to be a super middleweight, right? And the dude plots for it. He's got no grace. He's a plotter. Plots for it, throwing the same shit over and over again. And Andrade, he's only got fucking two rounds of cardio, and then he runs. And when he runs, he flops around like a fucking clown. I'm telling you that the punches that are going to be landed, it's going to make Rigondeaux blush. It's going to be so low. These dudes are not going to be able to land on each other. It's going to be an awful, awful fight. Yeah. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Andrade gets knocked the fuck out. It's going to be awful. It's going to be so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, hope you're wrong, but on top of that, it's pay-per-view, so you're taking a risk.
I hope I'm wrong. I want to see Andrade asleep on the ground, but I just don't see it. I think these dudes are Andrade's going to run, and Benavidez is going to plot forward like fucking Frankenstein, and it's going to show us how bad these dudes really are. They're not that good.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude, like, this guy is 6'3", 6'3" fat ass. He's got nipples the size of a pregnant woman.
Oh, come on, man.
Right? I don't know how the dude cuts down to 168. It's insane. He cuts down because he probably doesn't punch as hard as he's made out to, and he doesn't have a fucking chin, right? And Andrade, I don't even talk about Andrade. That dude sucks. He's ass. Dude's a fucking runner. He ducked Janabek.
Well, we shall see what happens.
They're both clowns. They're shit fighters. Benavidez. He thinks he's sexually aroused by Canelo. He wants him so bad. That's all he thinks about. It's like Wilder with Fury. These guys are fucking jokes, man. They're fucking jokes.
Well, I got to put up the disclaimer here and say that we got nothing.
And I'm not even that big of a Canelo fan. I like Canelo. I like Canelo. I'm not a big Canelo fan. Canelo's gonna knock this dude out. Canelo would deal with both of these dudes on the same night.
Well, now you're gonna get Booty Juice calling. Now you're going on Booty Juice's list of Canelo dick riders because you criticized Bivol, right?
I'm not a Canelo dick rider. If anything, I'm a Triple G dick rider, if anything, right? But I think Canelo handles both these guys. Look at this picture you posted of him. He looks like a woman. Andrade looks like a woman.
What does that
he looks female to male. That's what he looks like. He even kind of talks like one too. You got a little high voice. He kind of talks like this. And they're clowns. It's going to be an awful fight. It's going to be so bad. And it's pay-per-view, right? Isn't it pay-per-view?
That's right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, man, nobody's going to pay for this shit, bro. These guys are they're clowns, man. Fucking big nipple Benavidez over here trying to act tough, act hard. Man, the Mexicans don't fall for that shit because they know he's not really a Mexican.
Did you get Shazar came right out of the gate on that one, man? shot out of a cannon on this one.
I can't stand these dudes, bro. People love these guys. Andrade's loved by the LDPC because he's he's just like them. He's a loser, right? And the Benavidez fanboys, I don't get it. I just don't get it, man. I don't understand these dudes. These guys I just don't get it, man. I just do not fucking get it. This dude's so fucking big, bro. He's 6'3", dude. 6'3", find out 168. That's insane.
That's the name of the game. That's what I say. All right, well, listen, Shazar, great call. Love the energy. And call back next time, all right, man?
Yeah, for sure. I'll see you, dudes.
See you, man. See you. Yeah, there goes the
He's a fan of Goloski.
Do you remember that guy? Goloski. Los mexicanos estamos contigo.
Goloski.
Oh, man. Goloski. I remember the other one that Rapid always used to play, the guy with the nasally voice, like, I going for Triple G because he's got that style, man. I go with Triple G because he's got that style. that guy did not look Mexican, man. That's all I'll say about that. But, hey, listen, fellas, like I said, hit the like. You got us to 120. Let's see if we can get to 130. We get another phone call. Oh, the phone calls are coming in now, man. We're getting a late surge here. Let's go to 919. 919, you're on the air. 919, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, man? It's Big Say So, AK 150 Dream Team, man.
Oh, 150, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's up, man? I'm chilling, man. Look, I just want to say a couple things, man. First, I want to talk about Shakur and De Los Santos, man. In my opinion, I don't think that fight's going to be close. I think Shakur's going to do the same thing like how he did to these other guys, bro. It's going to be rinse and repeat. He's going to outbox him, keep him at bay. You know what I'm saying? He's going to jab him, move. You know, De Los Santos, I don't think he's really fought that style, bro. You know, Shakur, he could fight southpaws. He has an amateur background, you know. He's fought a lot of different styles. I don't think De Los Santos is nothing new. You know, I think he'll land some good shots, but I don't think he'll hurt Shakur. I don't think this is going to be the guy to test him. I think Shakur is going to win this fight comfortably. You know, like, I've seen the Blood, Sweat, and Tears, bro. De Los Santos talking about some defense don't win fights. That's some goofy shit, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. You know, but I think Shakur is going to beat him easy, bro. You know, and then the Benavidez fight, Benavidez and Andre, I don't know, man. I don't know if Benavidez is going to get the stoppage. I think he'll beat Andre, though. You know, I think early on he might struggle with the movement and the angles and shit and his boxing ability. But just like my man said, his cardio is not great, man. You know, Andre, he starts out very fast, bro, and he doesn't know how to pace himself. So I think later on in the fight he'll get tired and get sloppy and shit. Benavidez is going to beat him up. But I don't think he'll stop him, though. Because Benavidez can't cut the ring off and close the distance, bro. He's terrible at that. The Plant fight showed it. If he could cut off the ring, he would have stopped Caleb Plant, bro.
I got to bring this up there, 150. The Shadow Master, Mr. Mirage, in the chat is saying that you're clueless about boxing as usual and that you sound like you're drunk. You want to reply back to him?
Oh, Mirage. Oh, yeah, Mirage is a fucking troll, man. You know what I'm saying? We all know he's a Benavidez nut hugger. You know what I'm saying? This guy can't talk boxing with me at all. I've cooked his ass so many times on many panels. He knows it, man. I can't even take that guy serious, bro. You know what I'm saying? I get my predictions right. I break down the fights. I watch film. Can't no one tell me I don't know shit about boxing, bro.
Well, there you go. There's some history there between Mirage.
That's all I got to say for that motherfucker.
All right. So evidently there's some history between you two. Anything else you wanna say? Any other comments about other fights?
I mean, the only thing I want to say, like, what do you think about what do you think on my take of the fight, like the Shakur and Benavidez? What do you think? How do you think it's gonna go?
I don't know, man.
And I'm a dip.
Yeah. Well, let Gonzalo wants to say that. Gonzalo, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah,
Okay, this
Gonzalo,
is where I
what's
see a
up,
little bit of
Gonzalo?
a disconnect
Yeah,
between some of the
I want to hear
Shakur fans.
Gonzalo breakdown. Yeah.
BDA was mentioning it
Yeah, what do
earlier,
you think,
and
Gonzalo?
I
Go
agree.
ahead.
Look, yeah, I think there's a little bit of delay. When you say he's dominated his previous opponents, I would say he's 3 for 3 against Conceicao. If you include all the low blows, that's kind of a questionable win because it's not a total domination. If he would have been that dominant, he would have done it the right way with having to resort to the low blows. When Nakatila, he fought scared for 12 rounds against Joel Gonzalez, who's usually a fun fighter, exciting to some extent, that don't hit hard, but still, he gives it his all. Versus Shakur, he made it into a snooze fest. Joel's kind of exciting, and other opportunities or fights that he fights. So those 3 victories weren't dominant. Now I get it against Herring, the old Marine with probably like bad knees. He's probably used to like ruck marching and training. He's a veteran. And an old Japanese dude, yeah, okay, he knocked those dudes out and some other guy. So I say he's 3 for 3. So when you say like usual domination, I wouldn't say that he's used to dominating everybody. That's all. But I kind of agree with everything else you said. So
Look, I'll say this. I'll say this, Gonzalo. I'll say this. I think the Conceicao fight, that was like his best. That's the guy that gave him the most work. I think Conceicao gave him the most work. Valdez, he clearly won that fight. Herring, he stopped Herring. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he did fight dirty against Conceicao, but that's his style, bro. He learned that shit from Andre Ward, bro. That's his predecessor. He fights dirty, bro. That's what he's gonna do to Devin Santos. He's gonna do the same thing to him too. You know what I'm saying? I just think on the scorecard, it's going to be like a 9-3, 8-4 type of fight. Like his last performances. Like, would you say any of those performances he had was close fights, 7-5 fights? I don't think so. That's why I say there was pretty dominant, good performances. That's why I said that.
Well, I'll say this, man, and I'll make it short. The Conceicao fight, we don't really know much about how that would have... if the referee would have applied the rules... it would have been interesting, but the fact that Shakur Stevenson got away with so many low blows, it's somebody said in the chat that should have been a no contest. But be it as it may, it was what it was. Right now, we don't know much about Edwin de los Santos either, other than the Rayo fight and the Joseph Adorno fight. And other than that, nobody has really. I don't know how many people have seen his loss against Foster the third, but we'll see, man. Listen, that's why we're all excited about this fight, or most of us, because it's an intriguing matchup against a guy who's clearly fast and hits hard. But we don't know what he's made of deep down inside. So it should be an interesting one to watch right there, man. Anyway, with that being said, 150, we do have to move on, man. But thank you for your call and call back next time, all right, man?
Yeah, man. For sure, man. Appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Take it easy out there. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. It really helps us out. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 347. 347, you're in the air. 347, what's on your mind?
Yo, BDA, what's up? It's Philly Draw.
Philly Draw, what's up, man?
Drizzy Draw, remember?
Yeah, Drizzy Draw, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? I want to talk about something, but first I'm going to talk about Shakur real quick. I think Shakur is going to win that fight. De Los Santos, he's a good fighter, but he's like sloppy, and Shakur is very technical, so that sloppy shit, I don't think it's gonna work. A lot of people saying there might be an upset, but I don't think so.
All right.
And moving on, I heard like 2 callers ago, somebody was like shitting on Benavidez. the fight and all that. Like, I don't know why he's such a hater, bro. Talking about Benavidez sucks and all that, he's fat and all this shit. To be honest, what fight has Benavidez made boring? What fight of Benavidez was boring? Like, Benavidez exciting, bro.
Yeah, I've been thoroughly entertained by most of his fights, man. Yeah, I've been thoroughly. You're talking about Cesar, by the way. He's the one that called in and said those nasty things about Benavidez. So what else would you like to say about that? So you disagree with Cesar?
Yeah,
obviously.
so I just want to say that guy's a hater, man. That guy's either a hater or he's freaking delusional. So I just want to say that's a damn lie. This fight is going to be great. Benavidez gives it his all. He's like his freaking idol, Manny Pacquiao. He's going to give it his all, bro. And he's gonna either freaking stop this guy or the guy's gonna try to survive. But Benavidez is gonna be coming in, bro. I don't know what the hell that guy's talking about. But I just wanted to rebuttal that.
Well, let me ask you this, Drizzle. Do you think what Cesar said could qualify as slander and libel?
Yeah, like the guy didn't say anything about boxing, bro. The guy's just a hater, bro. Like he must be a freaking Canelo nut hugger.
Oh, well, listen. I don't know if what he said was unseemly, undignified, or unbecoming, but I will say that we allow everybody here to voice their opinion. We extend the same courtesy to you, and we'll see what happens on November the 25th, man. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No. Just hope the fights are good, man. I hope this end of the year goes out with a bang.
Oh, it should. It should. I think it's going to. All right, well, listen, Drizzle, we got to move on here, but thank you for your call and call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right, BDA.
All right, take it easy. Oh, shit, Shazar replied in the chat. Shazar says, listen how slow this dude talks, obviously huffing too much of those Jersey fumes. Ah, come on. Jeez. All right, I think we got our next Kumite lined up here. We got a new Kumite, Shazar versus Drizzle. Don't forget to hit the like I said, fellas. Hit that like. If I was planning on covering another topic here, but if we don't get to, we're at 130. If we don't get to 140 likes, we're ending it right now, man. That's just the way it is. I don't make the rules. It's the BDA board of directors. They're the ones that hold. They have a vice grip over my balls, and that's gangster talk for saying me. They have me under contract, so it is what it is, man. I wanted to ask you, fellas.
Can you leak a teaser?
Was that?
Can you leak a teaser?
Well, I could.
You said you want to bring,
I could, but instead I'm gonna leak my balls. I'm gonna go to the latrine. But I'll leave you with this, and then I'll be. If when I come back and we're 140 likes, we'll continue the show. But for the meantime, I'll leave you with this, guys. Did you hear Barboza? Arnold Barboza is signing with GBP after leaving Top Rank. So maybe does this have something to do with maybe some of the migrations we're going to be seeing? Same thing with the PBC. Are they going to be letting some guys go, and then those guys are going to be moving over to the PBC GBP? You guys, let me know, man. I'll be right back.
Barboza, he's the one who just got stopped, right? Recently, he was the favorite to win, and he got stopped.
Who, Barboza? No, he's undefeated, Jimmy.
Okay, I'm thinking somebody else.
He's a Mexican from Monte, California. He beat Zorrilla unanimously. So,
who's the kid who just got stopped from Top Rank? Recall. Oh no, that was Golden Boy. Yeah, one of their fighters lost recently. Favored a couple of weeks ago.
Murataya won. He fights at 140 also, I believe. But no, Barboza, he's won all his fights unanimously.
Wow, so they let him go, huh? They didn't match the money. Oscars.
No, I was just going to say, Barboza's a good fighter. A lot of people don't think that he have power. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does. Maybe about 50%. But he definitely has a good chin. So he believes in his chin because he's faced power punchers like Zorrilla, who at the time probably had about 14 fights with 13 KOs and was able to handle that dude. So obviously he's a tough guy who has boxing ability, and if he relies on his boxing skills plus that tough chin, which will allow him to work inside where many others don't want to be busy, which I mean by that, by fighting on the inside and from the outside as well. He's going to be a tough test for anybody. We've seen it from guys like Sandor Martin. You know, might not have the power, but got the boxing skills and can take the power from the opponent. And they provide a stiff test for anybody.
Well, Oscar could just be making some moves then. Maybe that kid's contract was coming to an end, right? Maybe it was a 3-year deal. I'm just speculating, of course. And, Oscar knows what contracts are up. Maybe he made a phone call or called, shopped around. If Oscar was smart, I would imagine if he wants to rebuild his stable, it would be, intelligent to go after Mexican-American and Mexican fighters. That's, he knows that community better. He's got the relationships, and that's where, would be smart. So maybe it was him just beefing up his by just made the kid a better offer because he wants to build up a stable. It could be something simple as that, right? It doesn't necessarily mean he's had a falling out with Top Rank. Sometimes they just go to a better offer.
Excuse me.
Barbosa is from Los Angeles.
Excuse me.
He's from El Monte, so
I gotta take umbrage.
Christ, they probably neighbors,
I gotta take
umbrage. Go ahead.
Cloudy Boxing in the chat says BDA. Cloudy Boxing in the chat says BDA is gonna go pull the goose or pull his goose. No, that's not true. I'm not pulling anything. Well, I'll give it a bit of a stretch. That's true. Just to make everything sure everything's in place. But I'm certainly not doing anything dirty. And then El Chango Peludo says BDA sits down on the bowl. Again, that's fake news. And you know what? I'm looking at the likes here. I'm looking at the likes. We got to 143, which is good. But guess what? We're gonna end it anyway, based on those comments. You can thank those guys for
there you go.
Keeping on the party. Nah, I'm kidding. Listen, don't keep hitting the like. Keep hitting the like, even if we already got to 140. It always helps us out with the algorithm. And here's what I want to talk about. Add another fighter who's speaking Crawford to beat Canelo if those two ever fight in a mythical matchup, which would probably be the biggest fight in boxing. Well, Wilder's jumping in on the fray. Here's what he had to say. And I'm not kidding around. Shout out to Emeritus Muellers for putting this up on the Discord. It says, Wilder believes Bud would refuse to show Canelo the respect that previous challengers have and would take the fight to the Mexican. So Wilder, in his infinite boxing wisdom, thinks Crawford would actually take the fight to Canelo. And he's had this to say. I'm going with Terrence on that one, he said. I just like Terrence. He has that dog in him. He can switch both sides and he's fearless. He comes to fight and nothing else. I don't think he's going to bow down to Canelo in no type of way. If one way doesn't work, he's going to switch the other way. A lot of ways, apparently. He's back and forth. I just think that he would give Canelo a problem, just like I think that David Benavidez gives Canelo problems too. So there you go. The dog is the thing that's going to take over the fight. He
literally said he got that dog.
Yeah, exactly. The meme comes to life again.
I'm a dog.
Guys, what do you think about that? Do you think Crawford? Do you think Wilder's making some good points here, or what do you think about his comments?
I think he's making great points, bro, and I think it's the fight of the century, and it just needs to happen. We got to see what the real pound for pound number one is, and we don't know if it's going to be Canelo or Crawford, because Canelo is Canelo. You got that resume, but Crawford's strong. You ain't wrestle with him. You know what I mean? I bet Wilder wrestle with him. That's why he's picking. That's why he's picking Crawford. I bet they wrestle.
Just for the record, you don't want to see Canelo Benavidez. You'd rather see Canelo Crawford, right? For undisputed number one pound for pound.
Yes, pound for pound number one and pound for pound number 4, right? On most lists.
There you go. There you go. What does everyone else think about Wilder's comments? He comes to fight, nothing else. Back and forth. He can switch back and forth. He can switch styles. Back and forth. Back and forth. Back into the left. Back into the left. What do you guys think about that?
He doesn't know boxing good enough to break it down. Oh my God, he sounds like just some casual. Did he really say bring the dog? Like Canelo doesn't have dog in him? He's took fucking Triple G's best punches. Crawford's got great boxing abilities, but he's not going to hit nowhere near the fucking some of the punches to the head that Canelo's taken in his career. So he would have to be a complete out slicking him. It would. I mean, that shit you saw with Spence. See, people are so quick to conflate things. Well, if you could do that to Spence, because again, in their head, they think Spence was somebody better than he really ever was. So and I'm a big Crawford fan. I just think it's a big mistake all around. he goes up to 168.
Jimmy,
that's just too much.
Would it have been better if Wilder had just said Crawford got more speed, more footwork, more athleticism?
Yeah, well, if he just said if Crawford can switch hit pretty good, if he can try to stay off balance. But remember, Crawford, he finishes guys. That's part of his game plan. You know what I mean? Like, he's looking to take people out. He's not going to take Canelo out. I don't know if people think that can happen. It's not gonna. It'd be like fucking somebody shooting a 9mm off a tank coming up from 147. He just doesn't have that kind of power. And I'm as big a Crawford fan on this panel as anybody. But it just, Canelo's used to fighting now at 168. He's gone in there and fought guys, big dudes. So, yeah, it just, I don't know. It's just more disarray in the sport. I mean, why is that? It's just everything. Right from 130 days, they strip him of the IBF when fucking, what's his name, didn't get that belt pulled on him in 4 years? It's just so ridiculous. Everything to do, just the way everything, it just pisses me off, my brother.
It's politics.
The only possible way that Crawford hurts Canelo if Canelo walks into a counter, but at the same time, Crawford's going to lose speed. And to make that mistake, Crawford got to set him up, and just Canelo, I mean, he keeps his eyes open and is pretty intelligent, and he got a good chin, so he'll probably take that counter too. And as far as Crawford walking him down, I don't see that, man. I don't see that.
Canelo's a strong dude, man. Canelo's a thick neck, thick wrist, strong motherfucker. Everybody who tangles with him says that. When they put their hands on him, even Mario Lopez, who's an actor, you know what I mean? But he said when he spotted him, it's like you grab him, he's a fire plug. You just don't realize how powerful he is, like pound for pound type power, And yes, it's just crazy.
But Never Sober's brought up a good point, though, Jimmy. Never Sober's, bring that up again, please.
What's that?
Yeah, bro. Canelo's all that, but have you wrestled Crawford?
They say he's wiry, and I can see that. He's a strong dude. He's lived a clean life, but there's weight classes for a reason. I mean, if he acclimated himself to that weight, went to 154, went to 160, but to go from 147 to 168, and we're talking about a kid who didn't he start at 130? So it's not like, because this is his fourth weight class, so
135.
What's that? 7 or 8 weight classes. So that's what 8 weight classes above what he started. That's like Manny Pacquiao, fucking.
Jimmy, I'm more interested in who has more dog though, Canelo or Crawford.
Carlos Adame, I think he was 54, but they moved to 60. And there's 2 different footages where Crawford gets a little bit the best of Adame, but 16-ounce gloves. And yeah, just imagine 10-ounce gloves, no headgear at 68. That's a different story.
And you fight differently when Canelo's punching you. You're going to react different. Your game plan isn't going to be the same. You're not going to be as confident. I mean, the reason why Crawford looked the best he ever did, he was in there against somebody who was like glacially slow. If you go back and look at his old fights, timing off and everything, so he could stand in a pocket and just piece him up over top of his jab. But he would get hit by Canelo, and he's not going to have the same game plan.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like that's what Crawford wants because, Canelo, when people were bringing up Benavidez, now it seems like everything's syncing up to the fact that, if the winner of Benavidez Andrade is going to fight Canelo, that's the way it seems like. Whereas with Crawford, he already took out his biggest challenge at 147, and the way some of the things he's saying, and again, I don't put too much stock in what fighters say, I put stock into what they do, but the fact that Bomac and Crawford seem to be saying, we don't have much else to do now, and they're trying to give him Jaron Ennis the Benavidez treatment, is that just the way it looks, or is that the way it is my question.
Well, the boots thing is a joke, because if he really wanted to fight, Crawford held the WBO. That was his championship belt. Every time, every fight that Boots took over the last 3 years was a IBF Eliminator. And you know what I mean? That was he fought, I think, for 3 of those while Spence had it. So that was the belt he was going for. That wasn't the belt, Crawford held. So if you wanted Crawford so bad, why wasn't he going after that belt? Why wasn't he pushing the WBO for it? So that's just horseshit. Even his father let that slip. But that's neither here nor there. The thing is, the big money, though, the big money fight. I mean, Crawford, think about this. People talk about you, rightfully so, as one of the best fighters in the world. And even though he was the highest paid per, guaranteed money at $3.5 million apiece, he sees these fucking guys like Plant getting $10 million. It's like, fuck. You know what I mean? So I would imagine, of course, that has a lot to do with it. He knows that he'd get big coin. Probably 5 to 10 times, what he'd be making against anybody else. And all these guys get these contracts. Just another thing you hear. Well, they could make up to $6 million. Like they'll say that about Davis. That's on projected pay-per-view sales, that if it actually sells. But it never goes to that. They don't even make enough. So those never kick in. He gets whatever his guarantee is. And he's been getting regularly $1 million to $1.5 million. That's been Davis's guarantee. That's the actual pay he's been getting. And we see it all the time. All these guys supposedly making all this extra money. Chalo, his wife put it out there. The fucking ready to foreclose on the house. Brona said he never made the money he was told he made. So it's just everything over there is smoke and mirror. But that's what you get when you have a guy who's in control of everything. Every aspect of the PBC is run by a man who refuses even a phone call from anybody in the media. So
yeah, but that's interesting though. So Crawford needs to fight. If he doesn't fight, if Canelo chooses to fight Benavidez, and Crawford has 2 options: fight Ennis or move up to 154 and take on Tim Tszyu. Or if Tim Tszyu fights Lubin, which is I think what they're saying is going to happen early next year, he should fight the winner of that one. Because just staying idle for another year, I mean, he could do that in the past. I don't know if that's going to start taking its toll now at his age. But he has, my thing is this, and this goes for all fighters. Maybe they should just shut the fuck up when they're not doing much. But that's not what they think. Or I don't know if it's their managers or their promoters that are telling them, yeah, you got to keep tweeting, you got to stay relevant. But they shoot themselves in the foot. And Crawford probably doesn't mean that, I don't want to fight Boots because if I don't have to, I've already accomplished everything. That's what he was saying before Spence, by the way. He's like, if I can retire now, I'm a Hall of Famer. I don't know if he means it or not. Again, I don't know if he's saying it to stay relevant, but it's not a good look. All fighters should just stop trying to talk because they end up shooting themselves in the foot. And we'll see what happens with Crawford, man. But hey, listen, if Canelo decides and the powers that be say, yeah, we have money for you guys, 30 mil each guy if you fight Crawford, Canelo, that's a fight that's going to happen. And they're going to take the money, and I don't think they're going to be too worried about what people think about Canelo Benavidez not happening or Crawford Jaron Ennis. That's the way I see. I think it would go. I don't have to like it, but I'm just telling you that's
it'd be
business.
Kind of smart, I think. BDA. Sorry, I think it'd be kind of smart if Gareth Crawford, if he was really serious about that he start moving gradually up to 68, and forget about 54. Just in general, just keep moving up slowly. That way, because he's not a big dude. He's wiry. So put the weight on the right places.
I agree. That would be the smart way to do it. But he's running out of time too. He's 35, going on 36. So I don't know if he wants to wait around for that. We got a phone call
he's
here.
Contractually obligated to fight Spence again, whether it's 147 or 154. I mean, he's contractually obligated to. So if Spence pushes that, he has to fight him again. The one thing he controls is that weight class. We all know the PBC doesn't want to make that fight. It's not going to sell for shit. So they don't want to make that fight. They probably, excuse me, it's probably Hammond telling fucking Crawford to say, no, you're not going to come up. Tell him you're not coming up from fast 147, while simultaneously telling him, we'll get you a big fight. We don't worry about it,
That's so what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
ridiculous.
Recognizing the chat says Shakur versus De Los Santos. Oh, by the way, he's calling Shakur Stevenson now Shakur too. Anyway, he says Stevenson versus De Los Santos. I'm rolling with the Puerto Rican. That's right. It's Puerto Rico versus Dominican Republic. Ya tú sabes. That's how it is, man. It's an international
I
Latin
think people
American
say Shakur because there's too many syllables in Stevenson, and it's just easier to say Shakur. But I know it definitely rubs you the wrong way, man.
It's just easier just to say Kur.
Yeah, apparently. His nickname too is awful. It's the avoided one or the terror or something like that. So I understand what you're saying there, Jimmy, but it just goes to show how shoddy, crummy, shabby, and dilapidated the language has become nowadays. People are just, in 2 years, people are going to start communicating via grunts, like fucking Neanderthals. That's the way I see it. We got a couple of...
Of course, BD, nobody want to get hit in the nuts 70 times. I mean, you'll lose your ability to have children.
You're talking about you're talking about something else, man. All right, well, listen, we got a phone call here we got 8 minutes left before the phone lines close, so let's make it quick. 832, you're on the air. 832, what's on your mind?
What up, Mr. VA? This is the Straight G Turo. I seen the title, right? And I just want to give my prediction real quick. You know, I'm the type that, I don't want to say I play devil's advocate, but I just believe what I see, man. And, I'm the type of guy who says Bud Crawford beats Canelo, right? But and so I look at this fight, the one that's coming up in 2 days. Believe it or not, I actually think that Edwin De Los Santos is gonna get Shakur out of there in 7 rounds.
7 rounds.
Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah, that's my prediction. You know.
I know you're trolling. I know you're trolling.
I
Straight G, because you be laughing right after you say some wild shit. Like, it's crazy.
No,
it's a hot take.
But I actually
G's bringing a hot take.
I believe Edwin De Los Santos has more skills. I think he's just as athletic, if not more athletic. You know how everyone's calling Shakur. He doesn't really like to trade with people, right? And I don't blame him. I think he lacks a dog. Edwin De Los Santos has been dropped
he's
before.
Trolling now.
And when Rayo Valenzuela. Wait, hold on. What
you're trolling? No, I'm with Never Sowers now. You're trolling us, man. But go ahead, yeah.
No. Listen, we saw in the fight with Rayo Valenzuela. As soon as he got dropped, Edwin De Los Santos fought back like a dog. What did they call it in the world of dog fighting, right? In the world of dog fighting, right? When people fight their dogs and stuff, what do they call a dog that I guess quote unquote lacks a dog? They call him a cur, right? So I think it's a poetic justice that supports the nickname
dog that fights.
I'm gonna hang up on you, Straight G. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna hang up on you, man.
Come on.
People in the chat saying that
well,
you're
don't
trolling.
be surprised when
Go ahead.
No. Listen, don't be surprised if Edwin stops the court, like I said.
So you're saying round
I
number
could be
7?
wrong, but yeah. I'm going for the upset.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
But I'll tell you. Excuse me. I'll tell you why I'm saying you're trolling, because you kept bringing up the whole dog thing. That's what I thought you were being. No, but listen, I'm with you and I'm with Gonzalo. Of course, the guy can crack, like you said. The way he dropped Rayo, and by the way, Chris Colbert should have lost to Rayo, but that's just one. That's one of those things. That's another one that gets under the rug, swept under the rug. But hey, listen, that's why it's an intriguing fight. So, but how confident are you in your prediction right there?
Honestly, I do. I'm pretty confident. I don't know why. I get the feeling like I heard Edwin De Los Santos confidently say, I'm talking about confidently say that with this fight he's gonna change his family's life. And Shakur Stevenson, the way he just talks like regular Shakur, ain't no you're not, I'm gonna be the boss of the situation, But I think that's coming more of just ego instead of actual confidence like De Los Santos, right? But I think that's just the way Shakur talks, right? Pretty assertive, but ultimately I believe he's gonna get his teeth knocked out. He's gonna be even worse looking Alvin and the Chipmunks face looking at.
Oh, wait a minute. See, now you sound like you got something against Kerr. All right, well, listen, Straight G, good call, man. We got to move on here, but thank you for your call. Great prediction, and we'll catch you on the next one, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right, for sure.
That's the one and only Straight G. By the way, shout out to King Bucho. He says that we've got he's added a new emoji for the BDA members, and it's called the Angry Caller. That's very Doom looking. Looks like the Doom character from the video game. But shout out to King Bucho for adding another emoji. That's right there, exclusively available for the people that become BDA members. So shout out to you guys. Let's take another phone call here.
Yeah.
Another person on the line. Let's go to 386. 386, you're on the air. 386, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, fellas? BDA, Boutro, Jimmy, Gons, all my people. I wish you guys well. Excellent show, as always. Probably the best boxing show ever. I don't know. Pretty good. But I love some of the topics you guys have touched on. BDA, I think you know how I feel about Canelo. I think in terms of like him fighting Terrence Bud Crawford, he would probably just have too much size on him. I think I listened to some of what Jimmy said. I think Jimmy could attest to this. He's just too big for Terrence, to fight him. But like I was listening to a bunch of especially Bob Arum and Terrence interviews, and they're like, we were chasing Manny for like 7 years. Manny was smart, Bud. I think, and I could be wrong, but like I think Manny could still come out of retirement and give Bud a pretty competitive fight if it was the same Manny that beat Thurman. But in terms of Canelo, I mean, the guy's just too big. I mean, he went head-to-head with Triple G, so that guy's a fucking killer.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, we don't even know what's going to happen with those guys. Because Crawford seems to be waiting, taking his sweet-ass time. Crawford, he's taking his sweet-ass time for that Canelo fight. I think that's the one he wants.
Yeah, he is. I mean, because you make very good film studies, and if I was boxing, obviously you'd be a trainer of the year. How good do you think Spence was?
How good do I think Spence was? I mean, he's pretty good. Good enough to beat Danny Garcia. The Sean Porter one, I think he scraped by with the knockdown. And he beat the crap out of Ugas, but he was certainly being overrated by his fans, and I dare say by the media establishment, who some of them had him number 6, number 5, pound for pound. Or something. I mean, his fans were overhyping him more, but he's pretty good. Look, the way he gets on the inside, not everybody could fight him off. But do I think he could have been the number one guy?
Do you think he had heavy hands, or do you think because like Crawford kind of like took his punches like they were fucking, I mean, like Spence didn't hit hard at all.
Well, I'll say this. 90 seconds. The reason why one of the big reasons why I ended up picking Crawford, because I already knew. I thought looking at the evidence, Crawford was a better guy. But then
but you're racist. I mean, you don't have to explain.
I know. But then I looked at the what Jimmy and Chief were saying about how Spence just wasn't taking shots properly anymore. And I had to put that into the equation, and that's the one that sealed it for me. But I still think Crawford would have beaten him even before the accident and all the alcohol and the fight. So that.
See, one last thing on that. All the way.
One last thing on that. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll say this then. As long I'm the alpha here, then I get to go first. What I was going to say was that Spence, because of the fact of the way the Brook fight went, that's why I think Crawford would have still pieced him up. I don't know if it would have been as one-sided, but I still think he would have won, maybe even comfortably. But Pacquiao, this guy, an old Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman.
What do you mean,
What I'm saying is an old Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman, so you can only imagine the rampage he would have done to today's division if he would have been 31 years old.
I think he would have beat. I agree with you, and let me just end on this. And everybody hit the like. I mean, it's a fantastic show. And keep doing the one or the Kumites. They're very entertaining. Like,
this shit ain't nothing to me,
let me
man.
say this. I don't mean to ramble, but like I have insomnia, and I like listen to this shit when I'm going to bed, and like, dude, I start fucking cracking up with these fucking, crazy guys you get on the show. But I think like a prime Manny obviously would be favored over a prime Bud, but I think a prime Bud beats a prime Mayweather. So it's like the triangle theory, but Canelo. I just can't get on board with that guy. I think Triple G was old and still tuned him up pretty good. But
sounds like somebody should jump. Sounds like somebody should be jumping on the next Kumite with these opinions. All right, well, listen, Jackson. Thank you.
Well, who's gonna go? I mean, I don't think anybody wants to smoke. I mean,
Well, listen, hey,
Nobody wants to get fucking embarrassed.
Many are called, but few are chosen. So it's up to the people. It's up to the real ones, as they like to say, to jump on the kumite. I mean, some people move different. Some people are a different breed, as they like to say. Some people got that dog inside of them.
Well, I'll take on the whole cartel, you know.
All right, yeah, take on the whole cartel, man. All right, listen, Action, thank you for your call, and
Well,
call
the
back
whole
next time. All right?
Canelo cartel, but thanks, BDA.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe, hey, the cartel
I like
versus
how
the
you
British.
laid them all down there.
The cartel versus the British Empire.
You went with all the tropes.
I tried to, man. I tried to. All right, hey, listen, fellas, we need to start. Okay, so Gonzalo, I'm curious, man. Well, let's start with you. De Los Santos versus Shakur. Stevenson. Shit, I almost made my own mistake. Stevenson versus De Los Santos. Who are you picking for that one? You think an upset occurs, or?
Well, that's the thing, man. Like I said, people in this world who are right-handers, it's pretty easy to understand when you fight another righty. The feet are staggered. Same thing for lefty versus lefty. You can walk in just as easily as he can walk in on you, or just as harder. But what I'm basically saying, it could be back and forth. And all De Los Santos have to do is step in hard and shoot that fucking left from the opposite shoulder, because you're also throwing the power hand from the opposite. If you take that angle and you get some extension on that power hand, because you're able to step in inside his wheelhouse, because it's not lefty versus righty. Shakur was doing this against shorter guys where he was kind of like blocking their entry point by blocking their front foot. And we saw with Valdez. Valdez had a crossover and kind of leap in and not so sure-footed, not knowing where he was going to land. But like I said, lefty versus lefty, you can step in, he can step in. If you can take that angle and drop a long left hand from the opposite shoulder, because you're trading lefts from the opposite shoulder diagonally. So you take that angle and you drive that straight left forward, and you can catch that dude on the tip of the chin where you put his head on the swivel. He can get the knockout. Like I said, that's why I think De Los Santos is so dangerous, right? Because he got the speed and the length, right? When they say Shakur, master of the distance, yeah, he's just the lefty and he takes advantage against righties with the wider stance. If you have to jump in, he's blocking you. Yeah, he got quick hands. I get it. He's got speed and timing. But De Los Santos is also dangerous. So if I say to you, I'm picking De Los Santos, no, like what people are going to say, what the fuck is he talking about? Because there's not a lot of evidence out there. But I'm just saying it's a 50-50 fight. Obviously, Shakur more known, and he's got skills too. He's also a lefty, so he can also have these same avenues of approach, just as well as how De Los Santos can. But I'm saying De Los Santos is dangerous because he's a power puncher. I'm just gonna go with De Los Santos by 10th round stoppage. Correction, 8th round stoppage. Yeah, and I can do that because this is fun for me, man. This is fun for me. I'm not gonna like pat myself too hard on the back by saying, "Oh, a lot of times I get them right." No, but since I want to have fun, I'm doing it this way, and I don't want to hear no bitching and griping. Oh, you picked that guy, because to me, I'm taking a chill pill. I want to enjoy myself. I put some work in the bank already to where I can do this, and I'll be all right with myself.
You got credit, is what you're saying.
Honestly, yeah, and I honestly, because he puts in a lot of excellent predictions all the time, I think this one he's saying he's throwing in some of his heart into it. He's not a big Shakur fan. He doesn't like the way the kid, moves, to quote you, Mr. BDA. And, he's going with his heart in this, and he's throwing out one of those,
well, hold on. I don't know if it has anything to do with him not being. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about him not being a fan. I mean, he broke it down. He was talking about the styles, the footwork, the southpaw.
No, but overall, I'm saying overall, I don't think he because the punching in the dick and hitting the women and shit. There's a lot of things about Shakur that kind of makes you not want to vote.
Well, that's never.
I would say honestly, I would say that I think maybe Shakur wins it because he got the judges on the side, and he's going to be very negative and kind of pulls off a victory, kind of like he did against Jeremiah Nakatila. But I'm just saying, if we want to go there, yeah, he's arrogant, and sometimes in this world, you're going to get humbled whether you like it or not, because that's just like one of the laws of life. And De Los Santos started saying that if you think about it, he started saying, can somebody please translate for me, because I don't understand what he's saying. And you know what Shakur told him? This guy, he started laughing at him. He don't speak English. He don't know what I'm talking about. But then he's responding all quarreling. over nothing really. Being real abrasive, and even the Mark Chinook, he said something stupid like, "Where's my belt?" And Mark Chinook told him, "Hey, I don't got your belt, man. It's probably like in a cubby hole somewhere. You'll get it." I mean,
yeah, he checked him. He checked him. He's like,
very
yeah,
weird, man. Very weird.
Well, here's what is interesting about that, because he told De Los Santos, like, take your glasses off when we face off, and De Los Santos said, take him off me, and Shakur just he just giggled a little bit. So yeah, he tries to make it personal, which is bizarre to me. Just yeah.
You know, I probably didn't word myself right. What I meant was going against like Vegas right now. I think it's like 6-1. I think they have Shakur a favorite, 6-1 favorite. Last I checked. Maybe not on all odds, but I believe the Vegas have him 6-1. So that's what I meant. Like, he's swinging for fences. Like when you go against the Vegas odds, that's like, they call it a wild bet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you said
that's all.
Canelo's not a fan of the. But you said Canelo Gonzalo's not a fan. It's like that has nothing to do with.
Well, I'm not really I'm not really a fan of Shakur either. I have a hard time kind of pulling for the kid because I think he says some stupid shit, and I don't like him hitting women. I have a hard time with that. I just do. It's just my own personal thing. So when I make a prediction and I think he's going to win, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't even want to say it. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I just try to keep my heart out of it. But that's all I was saying. I respect Gonzalo. Swinging for the fences is all.
I can say with the utmost of certainty and faith and I'm just all around knowledge that none of us have ever led or personal dislike for a fighter get in the way of a pick. I mean, I'll give you an example. Haney versus Kambosos. I wanted Kambosos to pull off the upset, but I knew, and I said it, I even had to explain it to the Haney fans. The Haney fans that were on the open lines Friday, they're like, Haney gonna win. And then I was saying, well, okay, how's he gonna win? They didn't know how to. I had to tell him it's gonna be with a jab, motherfuckers, a jab. So, Shakur Stevenson is a complicated fighter. And like Jimmy said, he's a dislikable character because he's always got that fake smile, and he's got an even faker accent, by the way. When he's around white people,
his teeth to gum ratio is all out of whack.
But what I was saying was, what I was saying was that when
in between that gap in his mouth, dude.
But what I was saying was that when he speaks, notice that when Thunderdome pointed this out months ago, when he's around white people, he talks one way, and then when he's around Afro-Anglos, he tries to ham it up, which is weird. It's like, just be yourself, man. But you don't get to impress anybody.
BDA, I feel like his accent is fake, bro. He puts on his accent when he talks, bro.
Yeah, he does.
See, that's another thing I wouldn't
like. That's the one thing that I didn't like about this kid, dude. When he talks, he goes, and it just sounds like he tries to talk like he's from Newark. Like he tries to sound like a hood person from the area, and I can hear the effort in his voice coming out of him when he's doing that. When someone talks a certain way, it's kind of supposed to be effortless. But when I can hear it in your voice, I just feel like it's straining. They try to sound a little bit, more hood or whatever. Whatever he interprets as that. Like, I don't know, bro. I just see he comes off fake to me, dude. That's why I don't like that. That's like the one thing that's always kind of been about that dude, man, that's kind of rubbing the wrong way. I just feel his accent's always been so forced.
Well, I'll say this, man.
I've met him, bro. Y'all just be talking.
Yeah.
What's your pick, Mr. BDA?
Well, I'll just say this about the accent. I suspect that when he's going to try to get, after this fight, especially if he doesn't get too many ratings or whatever, he's going to try to really play up the Puerto Rican angle. And when he goes on Telemundo or Telefutura or whatever, you're going to see he's going to start doing the same thing, but with the Puerto Rican accent. Oye, mami, ya tú sabes, yo qué digo aquí. And he's going to be, oh, come on. And people are going to see it, but then no one's going to say anything about it other than this podcast. And I tell you what, if China ever takes over boxing, because they're starting to take over the economy worldwide, he's going to start having a fucking Cantonese accent. This is Shakur Stevenson. I'm telling you, I can already see it, man. I know this type of stuff. I'm well versed in this type of stuff.
That was good.
Who else wants to give their... Jimmy, your prediction. How do you see this fight going?
See, you know what sucks? I'll be honest. I couldn't find anything on this kid, on this De Los Santos. I couldn't find really any video on him. It's only a handful of things on him. So, you know what I mean? He clearly hits hard. His level of competition's been all right. I think what's going to happen, just break down again, I could be completely wrong. You know what I mean? It's just my opinion. I just think he's a little not tight enough. I think Shakur will be able to take advantage of him not being keeping the stuff tight enough with his jab and speed, and I'll keep him off balance. I think that's what Shakur does the best at, and I just don't think the kid fights tight enough. And again, that's from what little stuff I saw on him. He could come in that night and look totally different, be tight as a bastard, keep his shit all the way it's supposed to. You know what I mean? Work in, come in right. But I've seen him, and what tape I've seen on him, a little loose sometimes. And Shakur's, because he's a very accurate puncher, extremely fast. He'd be the fastest boxer, this kid. And this kid isn't exactly slow either. But, yeah, I just saw because of that. And again, I could be proven completely wrong. But from what I could see, I think he's gonna cruise to unanimous decision.
Cruise to unanimous decision, all right?
What's his name? The fucking kid with the baby teeth. Shakur. No, Stevenson, sorry.
Yeah, you better watch it right there. So you think he pulls it off? Never Source, are you even going to watch his main event? Because are you going to pull a soothsayer? You're just going to watch the undercard, and then once the main event comes, you're going to shut it off?
No, I'm gonna watch the whole card. I'm interested to see what happens. There's but I can't really confidently pick. Like you're saying, you don't like to pick with your heart. I don't mind doing it because boxing's fucking fixed, dude. We know 90% of the time who's gonna win whatever fight, right? There's always a favorite. If you're following the sport, you know the guys. Someone's always, there's not a lot of 50-50 fights. So what you can really do is, if you want to be smart or whatever, you can call it an upset when no one else sees it. You know what I mean? So I don't know about De Los Santos. There's not a lot of footage of him out there. He has some qualities. I don't know. I can't trust Dominican boxers like that, dude. I feel like they're kind of flimsy.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Hector Garcia was whooping Gervonta Davis' ass, in my opinion. And then he takes one shot, and then he's blind, just long enough for the fight to be called. That guy, Banana Rosario, he took a jab to the stomach, and he starts fucking seizuring and shit on the floor. You know what I mean? Like, there's another one, dude, that did some weird shit, and I can't remember who it was, dude. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they just do some weird shit sometimes, bro. Like, I don't know if they're gonna sell out or if, like I said, they're just flimsy. I don't know.
Well, look at Rolly Romero, the gift he got against Old Man Barroso. I mean, that's one of the worst moves and decisions of the year, and it's been a year filled with bad decisions that people want to overlook because they favored their fighter. In terms of my prediction,
can I add one more thing? Oh,
sure.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna just wait before you go. Yeah, just real quick. Like to what Gonzalo said. Excuse me. Now that he's fighting at a higher weight, 135 as opposed to 130. His defense, though, was again his almost kind of a weird shoulder roll. Like he just gave it enough of a lean back where guys had a hard time getting in over his shoulder. That's now going to be voided as he keeps fighting, guys around his source size. So that's how he would, like Gonzalo's said it right. That's how he would catch him. So, but again, from what I've seen, I'm going to go with just a 12-round decision, cruise to a unanimous decision.
Cruise to a decision. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty wide.
All right, now.
How I kind of see it is, I see Shakur Stevenson playing it extremely safe with this dude because he's seen the power, and this kid Stevenson doesn't look like he likes to exchange with people. You know what I mean? He's very defense first. He's not going to take one shot that he doesn't need to. So just seeing that Dos Santos has power, he's probably already has it in mind that I'm going to stay away from this guy, and I'm going to jab him. And you know what I mean? He's going to play the, he's going to shake his ass out there. He's going to do that, he's going to do the ass style. And like Jimmy said, he probably can get like a wide UD, right? That's the most likely outcome.
So you're saying that
but we'll see what he's going to show a good showing of the ass style for the most likely. But if De Los Santos can catch him early, if he can we'll see what De Los Santos can do early. If he can't make something happen, like where he catches him with the hard shot in the first or second, he's like probably gonna, the gap's just gonna keep widening. You know what I mean?
Well, listen,
but he does seem to have good speed and power, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And speaking of hijinks, we got the Shadow Master on the panel. We got Mirage jumping in, who I believe, from what he said on the Discord, the chat, he's speaking against the favorite. He's going with the underdog. Mirage, what's your breakdown of this fight?
Yeah, BDA, what's up?
What's up, man?
Shout out to all my fans.
What's up, Mirage?
What's up, Jimmy? So we listened to your breakdowns. Yeah, some of them are okay. Some of them are a little bit delusional. A lot of people clearly have just bought the Shakur Stevenson hype. I haven't. I don't see anything special about Shakur to match it. It seems like every black, slick, sort of technical American fighter suddenly pound for pound after a couple of decent wins and a couple of titles versus nobodies. I think he's in trouble against De Los Santos. This is going to be a man versus a boy because De Los Santos is like 23 going on 33. I don't know what's in the fucking water over there. This guy's a fucking beast. He's a fucking monster. He's got speed. He's got power. And he's got fucking skill. And he's got skill. He can box. And I've been checking out in my research, listening to people who have sparred both these guys. Maybe you guys have seen that? They say this is a 50-50 fight. This is dangerous. So all these guys think Shakur is going to whitewash him because he's schooled Oscar Valdez. Who the fuck is Oscar Valdez? He's a little midget, little T-Rex arms. You can't compare him to this guy. This guy's completely different. Tools in the ring. So, yeah. And if Shakur does the business, I'll give him respect. But he has to prove it. Because so far, I don't like him. He likes hitting to the balls. He's dirty. And when he does it, he fucking smiles. He hits him to the balls and he does that big goofy smile. Man, fuck that shit, man. I want to see him get knocked out. And my recommendation, the odds are ridiculous for this fight. 12 to 1
are the
for
odds?
Santos knockout.
12 to 1, wow.
Put some cash. Well, that's for the knockout. 19 to 1 for a decision, which understandable because, the A side judges. But those, in my opinion, for a 50-50 fight or close to it, the odds are ridiculous. So that's my breakdown.
You know, that is interesting that Shakur Stevenson, when he fought Valdez, hit him in the nuts right on, and the referee was in the perfect angle to see that it was a low blow, and Valdez complained about it, and the referee just stood there wide-eyed like he was on drugs or something, and Shakur Stevenson actually laughed. Usually when a guy catches a guy with a clean low blow, he pretends like, what? Like he goes like this, what? This guy was laughing, meaning, I mean, this is my interpretation of the event. He knew the ref was in the bag. And if he wasn't in the Valdez fight, he was certainly in the bag in the Conceicao fight. Because I counted about 20 low blows throughout that fight. Clear low blows.
It's disgusting, man. Disgusting.
Yeah. But listen, people love to talk about Kidney.
I agree with Mirage, bro. Everything he said, bro, I agree with him right now.
That's what's making me doubt.
Hey, Gonzalo, shout out to Gonzalo. Usually I don't agree with your garbage takes, but this time you're spot on, man. So credit to Gonzalo.
Oh, come on, man. You don't have to be such a meanie.
Garbage takes, what do you want? Canelo, I mean, fucking Gonzalo's got like a 99% batting average in his predictions. Kid's been almost flawless for like 3 years, man.
I mean, you know what upset me? Do you know what upset me, Jimmy? When he said Munguia is going to give Benavidez a tough fight, that's when he sort of, okay, you've gone too far now. So that's the problem.
Oh, Munguia's tough. He's a tough kid, man. He's a tough kid. There's no doubt about it. He can take a punch, so.
But he would be he'd be a heavy bag, man. Come on. So, yeah, I didn't agree with that take.
Hey, by the way, my take on this fight is that it's highly mystical because, and like I said in the beginning of the show, it takes me back to the old days of boxing where if you didn't have a satellite dish, European guys or these guys that fought in South America, if it wasn't on Canadian or American television, you couldn't watch them, or even Mexican television. So this is quite interesting. Oh shit, my connection's fucking up here. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Okay, so yeah, so this fight reminds me back of the old days because we have a guy in De Los Santos who has fought on television, but you can't fight his entire fights on YouTube. The only one that's really on YouTube is the Rayo fight. Then there's a couple of fights that he had in the Dominican Republic. Those are available on Russian streaming sites. The Foster fight is unavailable, and the Adorno fight, you can only catch the highlights, or somebody filmed the fight in the arena or the location.
No, you can see the production. You can see the actual TV TV broadcast for that last fight. It's on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. 45
I looked
minutes.
for it.
Something.
The only version I could find is a
Have you
guy who's
also-
filming it in the crowd, and the quality is not the greatest, so it's kind of hard to make out what's going on.
I'll double check again. Hang on.
Yeah, if you have him, Raj, can you send a link? Because I couldn't find nothing on the guy.
Okay, maybe I'm
Well, not nothing,
imagining
but
things
not
like that.
much.
Yeah.
I think
So I could be rating a lot of this off misinformation. You could be much better, worked on things. So we'll see.
I doubt that Mirage is well versed on anything. No, I'm kidding. But listen, the point is this. My take on the fight is, well, yeah, so the Los Santos, from the little we know about him, he certainly has speed, he certainly has power, and like Mirage was saying, that supposedly the people that sparring him claim that, yeah, he is the real deal. Shakur Stevenson, like I've said before, I think he's a little overhyped, and usually when you say overhyped, you go, okay, overhyped by whom? Because there's people out there that are casuals, and if they overhype somebody, it's because they don't know any better. So does that really count? But in this scenario, it's not only Top Rank and ESPN that are overhyping him, which is their job to overhype him, but you get fans and pundits saying that nobody between 130 and 140 beats him. So to me, that is overhype. They said the same thing about Lomachenko. Oh, we dislike this guy because he's being overhyped. But they don't apply the same energy or the same logic against Shakur Stevenson. Be that as it may, he's very elusive. That's for sure. He's got a weird, awkward style where he leans back and then he'll pivot away. Or sometimes he'll just stay in place and lean back and then up and down, up and down. It makes guys miss. So he's good. He's very good. And if you want to watch him fight a high-quality southpaw, watch the final of the Olympics when he fought on against Robesi Ramirez. That's another southpaw who's quick. And I know it was just 3 rounds, and I know it's the amateurs. It was a long time ago. But it just does give you a sense that he can fight quick southpaws as well. But guess what? This is the professional ranks. This ain't with big-ass gloves anymore. These are 10-ounce gloves. No, excuse me, 8-ounce gloves. He's fighting a guy that he's going to have to take this power, avoid this power for 12 rounds if he goes that long. I'm just still skeptical about Shakur Stevenson. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not saying he's overrated, although some people are certainly think that he's the anointed one. But what I'm saying is this fight is going to let us know a little bit more about what type of fighter he is. The ones that are really going to let us know what he's all about would be the Tank Davis fights, the Haney fights, the Lomachenko fights. And he can cry all he wants about how he's being avoided. But guess what? When you just get to a division and you had to leave the previous division because you missed weight and you hit a guy in the balls 25 times and nothing was done about it, don't be surprised if some people don't want to fight you. That's all I'm saying about that.
No, BDA. You don't understand, bro. He's a generational talent, and you just don't recognize it when you see it.
That's right. I'm biased. That's right.
Well, I think that's the thing, BDA. Like,
because you're racist and prejudiced against Americans, dude, and
I'm a big
you can get that racism
racist.
out of your eyes, you wouldn't be able to see it.
I can see, okay, this guy's a good fighter, he's got good skills, but they're going 10 steps further. They're saying the future of boxing. I think that's where a lot of people have that disconnect. Like, I'm not seeing a young, pretty boy Floyd in Shakur Stevenson. I'm not, sorry. I'm not. And they're pushing him like that.
I'll say this, man. I was skeptical of Inoue too. All the way up to 2019 when he was going to fight Donaire. And I said, now it's going to, I want to see, because he was knocking everybody out within 3 rounds. And I'm thinking, what happens when a guy can take his punch and can actually give one back as well? Because he'd gone 10, 12 rounds against Carmona. But Carmona couldn't really crack that well. He wasn't really the best in the division. So I said, come on, I want to see how he handles somebody who can really crack. And he did. He showed it. Sorry, my bar is set high. It's not because I dislike people. That has nothing to do with it. I'm just looking at this objectively from a boxing skill, talent standpoint.
It should be high. It should be set high. If the claim is high, you got to set it high as well.
There you go. So when guys, I see the upset. By the way, I can see the upset happening, but I also think that the Los Santos is, even though I do think some people are overhyping Shakur Stevenson, I still think he's gone 12 rounds before. He's got those veteran tactics, meaning dirty tactics that he can use to stall, create a small advantage, a small incremental advantage that will allow him to escape unscathed if things get too rough. And I can see him pulling off a win here, but I'm really perplexed about this one, guys. I'm tentatively going with Shakur Stevenson, but I don't know what's going to happen.
I think the first 3 rounds. Obviously the cards will favour him, but even if it goes to decision, I think it's going to be a close, controversial decision. Even still, I think Santos can make it close. I just want to say that Adorno fight, I think it's been taken down. That's why I'm sure I saw it like a week ago or something, but if it gets taken down, I think that's why what's happening.
I've been going on YouTube the past days. Every time I go on YouTube, I write Edwin de los Santos and I filter it by upload date to see if someone's uploaded a fight of his. But
maybe 2 weeks ago I watched it even 2 weeks ago. So yeah, unless it pops up again, yeah.
All right, so we got Mirage going with the upset. We got Gonzalo going with the upset. Jimmy says Shakur Stevenson is gonna. Did you use the word wash, Jimmy? Did you say he's gonna wash De Los Santos or?
No. I said I think he's going to cruise to a unanimous decision. I think it's going to be on the wider side. Like I don't think it's going to be as close because of those things. And on top of that, I think he's the house fighter. So I think he's automatically going to get some goosebumps. So put it this way: if he legitimately won 7-5, you'll see it scored. 9-3.
You think he's going to be comfortable for 12 rounds? You think he's going to be comfortable in the ring for 12 rounds versus the Santos? What he brings?
No, not comfortable. I think he's going to have to work his ass off to make sure he's not a recipient of one of those big shots. I think he's going to have to make sure he keeps pumping that, jab, and it's so quick and it's very accurate. And maybe I'm just being somebody. It's always been my fucking kryptonite anytime I box somebody. Anybody who has a crisp, hard, fast jab who just snaps it in your face, and it just sets you. You got to start again. You know what I mean? You got to start again. It's hard getting your rhythm going. It's hard setting the pace when somebody's ripping off a blistering fast jab in your face, and unless
Santos,
he's slowing down.
Santos, he's a fast, explosive sort of counter puncher, so. Can't that shut down a jab though? If you can
but his punch is a little bit wider. You know what I mean? Then Shakur's a very straight. He's reach advantage. Jab. Yeah, but it's just the angling of the punches. Shakur's good at that. Like I said, that's his one. He's excellent at that. That jab is excellent, very accurate, very straight, and you see where he lands it. He always, many times, he catches somebody. Either right before you can see as the weight's coming forward, snap, it cracks them. It just adds to it. You know what I mean? It kind of snaps your head back a little bit more because you're moving your weight forward. He just knows when to throw his jab. He knows how to keep people off comfortable because, it is what it is. I'm not saying that I'm not taking any pleasure in saying that. I have no, honestly, if there's times I'd love to be wrong. Sure, he knocked him out. That'd be awesome. That could change that Dominican kid's life, I'm just going by what I've seen of the two. And again, I could be wrong. Again, it's just my opinion.
We could be wrong as well, but to me, the impression I get, he's not the type of fighter that's going to just be controlled and just sit behind somebody's jab for 12 rounds. He doesn't seem like.
Oh no, he would have to be good to do it. Yeah, no, he would have to be good. It wouldn't be an easy task.
Shakur, he's quick with the counter. And another thing, you know how they say, and I've said it many times before, like very redundant, and it probably people get tired of hearing it, but like this is just my opinion. You know how they say speed beats timing? How timing beats speed? Well, what if you got timing and speed? That's what Shakur got. That's why he punched at a different rhythm.
Exactly.
Right? When he pops your head back, he freezes you in place. He discombobulates you, and when you can't clear your head because you don't know how to take a step back, right, to clear your head, you're gonna hit with the 2-piece, and that's why Shakur a lot of times is controlling the spacing of the back and forth, the punches, because once he freezes you in place because he punches in at a different rhythm, he pops your head again, and that's how he gets control of you. So that's maybe. Yeah, because maybe De Los Santos not that seasoned, but I'm just picking him. Like if he had one chance, if he trades with Shakur, punch for punch, and he lands his shot, because he's also tall, he can put Shakur's lights on. Because remember, he said he doesn't like to be hit. If he doesn't like to be hit, obviously he has a fear of getting hit because he don't like it.
And Santos throws big combinations. He doesn't just throw 1 or 2 punches. He lets his hands go as well, which will be. That's challenging for the opponent.
And that was an excellent breakdown. I just want to say, Gonzalo, you broke that down perfectly. The description of what he does, and I think it's driven from the fact he doesn't want to get in brawls. That's not who he is. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to take 2 to land one great one. So that's why he's developed what he's developed. You know what I mean? What he does is it gets hard for guys to get into a groove. And I know it sounds weird, and maybe like people say get in the groove. What does that mean? But it's just get in your rhythm. You know, it's very hard to look good when you're not in your rhythm.
Yeah, I
He's
still
one of
think a
those
lot of
guys
that.
who can prevent you from getting into your rhythm.
A lot of that is the limited opponents sort of make that look better. Like Valdez, yeah, he's a good little fighter, but he's limited, and he's physically outsized completely. So that sort of allows Shakur to do that much easier. That's what I think this guy is going to. He's not going to allow him to just get away comfortably, to just sit there and just pepper you comfortably with a jab and look for the 1-2, because he's got his own. He likes to jump in very fast. He's got very fast feet, and when he comes in, he throws a lot of punches. So I think he can upset the apple cart.
But I got a question though. If Shakur Stevenson has been matched softly, what does that make De Los Santos? Because we don't know much. That's the whole question of this. That's why it's a hard pick, because I don't know who the fuck. I don't know. You know, he went 10 rounds against Adorno, but he's never been past the 12 before.
Yeah, and he also lost against Foster, the guy that fought on the ESPN card about 2 weeks ago. And the thing that made De Los Santos, I'm not changing my pick. I'm just saying what made De Los Santos look very impressive when he fought Rayo Valenzuela, because Rayo Valenzuela stepped to De Los Santos looking to knock him out. So he wasn't running; he was there for a firefight. So when you offer a lot of fight, you're also susceptible to getting hit back and beat up. So that's why De Los Santos, he got the best of Rayo, because he was in there in a firefight. I don't think Shakur's going to offer him that type of fight. So if
Adorno's
Rayo
a boxer. Adorno boxed him and he looked very impressive.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. You want to be there.
Shut him out.
But obviously, it's like I say about Prograis. Yeah, he want to prove to the world that he's a better boxer than Haney. Well, that's probably not gonna work out too well for you. So stick to what you do best. And if you got quick counters like De Los Santos, try to catch that dude and punch with them. And maybe that's the way you can turn off his lights.
And I know he lost to that Foster dude. I watched that Foster dude last week when he fought, and he lost. But that guy's like a rangy, sort of awkward fighter. So I can imagine that guy just being a really bad matchup, and you know he beat him okay. I don't just dismiss him just because of that. You know, that's one fight. He's still learning his trade. So if people dismiss him because he lost one fight, you know how it is these days. You lose one fight, they write you off.
No, and I agree totally with you lose a fight, people write you off. That's just ridiculous. Some guys become better because of a loss. But Oshaki or something, Foster, I believe that's the guy's name. What's his best attribute? Is hand speed. He's an extremely fast puncher, and that's the one guy he lost to. Like Gonzalo says all the time.
Foster, not Oshaki, right?
Yeah, okay, I thought that's what you were talking about, because you said just fought a couple of weeks ago, and I think he just
fought LeBron.
Yeah, that was William Foster last week.
He got beat up.
Okay, that's what I thought you guys were talking about.
Rangy, long sort of dude, awkward to what I saw. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm very curious about what happened in that Foster fight. That's the one fight I'd like to see what happened with De Los Santos, because according to what the boxing scene report, De Los Santos dropped Foster, and then he got tired, and Foster just kept coming forward, and I think there was a lot of clinching. I think De Los Santos lost a point.
Yeah, that guy's
clinching.
a pressure sort of. He just comes forward and smothers you type of fighter, drowns you. So that makes sense. Yeah, you just gassed out and you got swarmed and just smothered, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Maybe Shakur Stevenson already knows. Look, this guy, maybe he'll be good for 3-4 rounds, but I want to see how he fights after the 6, and maybe he'll try to drown him, take him into deep waters. I don't know, man. I'll have to see. Also, Shakur Stevenson's pretty. Shout out to real quick. Shout out to Javier Salazar for his contribution with the super chat. A big one, by the way. A big old contribution right there from Javier. Shout out to Javier or Xavier. I don't know if that's you want to pronounce it in English. Didn't leave a message other than
Xavier.
Xavier there. But shout out to Xavier for his contribution with the super chat. Shout out to you. And that's going to go into the fund right there. Cute. That's going to take us into the true path of the Crimson Cross. Takes us one step further. Shout out to Xavier Salazar.
Hey, BDA,
that could buy new wheels for the gravy train, BDA.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
To keep it rolling.
The Wilder AJ card, is that sort of official that you were talking about earlier? I'm just curious.
Apparently, that's what people are talking about on the internet.
If that's
I mean,
official, what a fucking embarrassment. That's a fucking joke. Okay? You got the two guys that we've all wanted to watch fight that should be fighting. They're fighting on the same card, but they're fighting two other motherfuckers nobody wanted to see. Who wanted to see AJ versus fucking Otto Warren? And Wilder versus Parker, who shot to pieces. These guys, both of these fighters are a joke. That they're not main eventing in the fight. This just shows why boxing is a joke these days.
Well, I'll say this, man. It seems to be
in my opinion, it's a disgrace.
I mean, some people feel the same way about that on in the chat, but I'll say this, man. It's a springboard, perhaps to greater things. It's not like Showtime and DAZN weren't doing that either. I mean, we wouldn't even see. I don't think we'd even get to this point, this potential Wilder Joshua fight, if it wasn't for the Saudis. So hopefully they don't fuck it up. Hopefully this is just, like I said, like a beta test to see how their events unfold. Because, man, if they can make mega cards the way they do with the UFC, where everything's stacked and you get 3-4 great fights, not just good fights, because that's what people say about the Benavides Android card. Oh, that undercard is stacked. It's not stacked. There's some good, interesting fights if you're a hardcore fan, but most other people are going to go, who the fuck are these guys? They're not exactly the most compelling matchups. But if Saudi Arabia can start doing that, like imagine Wilder Joshua main event, maybe they even get Usyk in there somehow, or Fury. Yeah, imagine that, Usyk Fury in Saudi Arabia, and then on the undercard, Wilder versus Joshua. I mean, that's a lot of money, but they could. If anybody can do it,
I think this should have been, but that should be happening already. That's good what you're saying in a broader context, but to me, these guys, it should have been AJ Wilder main, and then some other big co-main. Like, they still seem to be just playing games. Why aren't they fighting? What's going on? Jeez.
Yeah, you're
building
right,
building it up. It's 5 years. How many years?
Yeah, I'd say about 5 years, man. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully they pull it off.
And you know what the funny thing is? They can both lose. Both of these fights are risky, in my opinion. Especially
why are
AJ
you complaining about it, though?
Versus Otto Wallin. Big southpaw gave Fury hell.
Right. Okay. So then you like the matchup then?
Yeah. In a vacuum, I mean, sure. I mean, decent fights.
But I get what you're saying. You're saying,
not the most exciting.
Right. You're saying that compared to what really should be going on, these fights are crap. Yeah, I get that. But maybe it's because I've become
for what we have, just comparing them just head to head, it's a decent fight. Risky fight for AJ. I think a lot of fights are risky for him these days. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
Hey, BDA, one last thing on the Shakur fight I wanted to mention. It's funny to me, not just like one comment, but I see many comments where people say, De Los Santos got no chance. You'll see. Laughing emoji face. Like they give De Los Santos no chance. And it's gonna be funny. Let's say, for example, which is highly likely that Shakur does win. These motherfuckers are gonna be like, I told you so. I told you so. and like, I don't care. I'm just looking, dude, because you can, if you already like are thinking this way, but then again, you don't really know because nothing in life is for certain. It's like, you cannot know that. You're already bestowing this guy as like the new, like the real thing. And people don't know that. I mean, how can you possibly know that?
Well,
but this is the way some people think.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's basically it.
I mean, it's with the Lomachenko thing.
Like, people get into their feelings so much, but that's it, BDA.
Yeah, it's like with the Lomachenko thing. People say, when we would ask him, well, how come you root against Lomachenko? He's willing to fight the best. And go, it's because he was overhyped. Well, you're telling me Shakur Stevenson isn't being overhyped when people say that between 130 and 140, nobody can take him out, and that he's gonna be able to move up and dominate 147 as well? And that's not just Top Rank, which it's what they're supposed to do, overhype him. It's everybody, it's the pundits, it's fans. Don't tell me that's not overhyping. So how come you don't root against him? I already know the answer, but I'd like to hear from other people. And by the way, yeah, that's the other thing. People take that shit too seriously nowadays. That I told you so. They love to. They can't just watch boxing. They like to pretend as if they won the fight. It's as if you pick. In other words, Gonzalo, if you pick De Los Santos, in their eyes, it's almost as if you gave Shakur Stevenson no chance. You know what I mean? It's either or, and it's stupid. It's the mark of people that aren't all that intelligent. I'm just gonna say it straight up. That's why we stay over here in our own little bubble, Well, we try to just talk boxing, keep it boxing for the most part.
For the most part.
For the most part. Every once in a while, we got to stir up a little drama just for entertainment purposes. Well, anyway, listen. With that being said,
BDA. But if somebody gets a pick badly wrong, completely misjudged, they still need to be held to account. Like, you need to say, look, you got this, you fucked up, you didn't know what you were talking about, and you need to learn from that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
I can agree with that too, yeah.
What I think is this, bro. Like I was saying earlier, most of the time you know who the favorite is, you know who's supposed to win. If you break it down further, like BDA was saying, like when he mentioned how Haney's key to victory was going to be the jab and the clinch against Kambosos, just saying, "Oh, he's going to win," that's not enough. That doesn't show enough. When you can predict how it happens, then you know what I mean. Then you're okay. You're really breaking it down, their style. But like to rub that shit in people's faces, dude, I don't know, bro. That's dumb. I don't know.
It's the internet.
Because really, I mean, anything can happen in a fight, bro.
Right. But I mean, it's the internet. And yeah, it depends. If somebody, like I remember Inoue versus Fulton, some Fulton fans, and well, actually, they weren't even Fulton fans. They were just fans of a certain demographic. And they were saying, they were making a ratio, saying Inoue is going to lose because he's the first black man he's fighting. And then they were saying he was going to wash. Like there was this one trainer, by the way. I can't believe he's a trainer. This dude trains amateurs, and they were interviewing him. And he goes, "What do you think?" They asked him, "What do you think about Inoue Fulton?" He goes, "Fulton's going to wash Inoue, going to school him. It's going to be like Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia." Which I don't remember Tank Davis schooling Garcia. I mean, I remember him dropping him and stopping him, but I don't remember him giving him a beating. And then the guy goes, "It's going to be the same thing, and you can put it on wax. You can put that shit on wax. Fulton is going to school Inoue." And the guy goes, "Yeah, but Inoue, so you don't think Inoue is good? Who has he fought?" And the guy goes, "He fought Donaire." "Oh, 40-year-old Donaire. Okay, cool." Like I said, Fulton going to wash him. And in that regard, a lot of people trolled that guy afterwards. He disappeared. I haven't seen a new interview from that guy. I think he's in the shadows now. So in that case, I understand like what Mirage is saying. Yeah, some takes are just way too ridiculous. Because like Gonzalo was saying, look, you got to fight like Stevenson versus Dos Santos. I think Stevenson's going to win, but I don't know because I do think he's being a little overhyped. And then on top of that, there's a big asterisk on De Los Santos because we don't know how good he is. So that's what I'm saying. If I'm going to pick Shakur Stevenson, which I'm doing, but I'm not going to tell you that De Los Santos has no chance. I'm not going to say that he's a bomb or that, you know what I mean? It's like a 70-35 type fight for me. But some people they want you to pick one guy. If you pick one guy, that means you're saying that the other guy has no chance, which is bizarre and outlandish and outrageous.
Well, I saw them square up, and De Los Santos got a bigger head than him, and he seems about the same size. And does he have longer reach?
Well, apparently that's the thing, though.
Yeah, 2 inches more reach. 2 inches more reach.
Okay, well that can be significant if he has the speed to do something with it. But I'm saying like Dominican dudes, man, they be getting knocked out, bro. Like, or they be going blind off of, hard shots. Yeah, I don't know, bro. But I think I'll say with De Los Santos, if he has a shot to beat Shakur, he has to kind of catch him cold. Within 4 rounds. You know what I mean? That's the best shot I think I can give him. I think
I want to see.
Shakur probably haven't figured out whatever later on. What happened?
Yeah, no, because the fucking measurements, they have both guys at 5 feet 8 inches tall, and like Mirage said, supposedly De Los Santos has a 2-inch reach advantage. The thing is, when De Los Santos fights, he looks shorter, and I think that's because Shakur Stevenson tends to fight more upright. I think it's because Shakur Stevenson fights upright, whereas De Los Santos fights a little bit more crouching. So I think that's what it is. I think they are about the same height, but I will say Shakur Stevenson looks like a fucking welterweight. Have you seen him around Terence Crawford? He looks about the same size as the guy, except a little shorter.
Yeah, that's why that dude walks around with them big baggy clothes, bro. They don't want you to see how they look. Devin Haney does the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, fucking Haney looks bigger than Prograis. I mean,
they're wearing like. Did you see the jacket Stevenson was wearing? It looked like an inflatable fucking air. Like it looked like he was wearing a balloon. That shit was enormous.
Yeah, he looks like one of those fat guys.
He looked like a rapper from 1998, bro.
He's got the Echo brand. What was it? The one Fat Farm. By the way, again,
for real, bro.
Shout out to Xavier for his contribution. Like I said, he didn't leave a message, but shout out to him again. Recognize the Matrix says, tell Gonzalo I got my cur by decision. He says by Puerto Rican decision. And he says that he will tell us I told you so after the fight. All right, well, Recognize can do that because it's in his contract that he's allowed to do that. Hold on. We got another contribution here via Pugilist Zine. Shout out to Pugilist Zine. He says, who should Murataya fight next? Excellent question. Tell you what, I think he's ready for everybody. I think he's ready for Tank Davis. He's ready for Haney. Well, Haney's not a lightweight anymore. Cepeda, Isa Cruz, all of them. He's proven it, man. This dude has a good boxing IQ. He's got speed, he's got power. I want to see him fight the best. But depends on what Top Rank is going to do with him. I think, hey, listen, him and Cambosos, no problem. I'm going with Murataya on that one. No problem. That's how good he is, I think. I'm still not convinced that he can beat everybody. But with Cambosos, I think. Now, does he give a competitive fight to everybody else? I agree. But does he beat him? I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Hey,
I'm not going to overhype him.
They say you used to wear FUBU?
Nah, I never. I actually did. I mean, I used to wear the Dickies a little bit more. Bigger.
You what do you mean you used to? You still don't wear it, bro?
Nah, man. Well, actually, I do when depending, like if I'm going to the gym and I don't want to wear my usual clothing, I'll still put on some Dickies, and I don't have the Cortez though. The Cortez shoes. Maybe I'll get a pair.
I don't think I ever rock them. I think that's a California thing, bro.
Well, that's what I was doing over here in Canada, man. Because that's just how I roll. That's how I move. I move different.
You have the high top, two top socks.
No, but I had friends. I had friends who used to do that, man, and they were the first ones doing it here in Montreal. Let's just leave it at that. With that being said, what's that?
Okay, lady, I see you.
No, yeah, but I didn't paint my face like a clown, though. I never did that. You know, the tattoos with the clowns and all that. That's an LA thing. That's a Chicano Cholo, that thing going. Gonzalo, did you ever do? Well, you're a Mexican Tijuana, but did you ever see guys with the clown tattoos, or is it a jail thing maybe?
I seen that shit in prison. I seen the jester shit where they have the. It looks like the clown paint, but it's just ink. It's ink.
Yeah, I've seen all that stuff. The smile now, cry later. I seen guys, gangsters, cholos, whatever you want to call those.
Well, there you go, man. All right, well, listen, we're going to wrap it up here. We've been on for about 3 hours. Jeez, Luis. Almost 4 hours. Whoa. Time flew by. All right, well, listen. Of course, time flies by when you're having a good time. Let me tell you something, fellas. It was a good show. Shout out to everybody that donated the super chat, everybody that called in. And I want to give a big shout out to Jimmy, who was here. He left. Shout out to Sobers, Gonzalo, Mirage for jumping by. Everybody that called in, like I said. And everybody in the chat. I'm talking about MAW, Timothy Figueroa, Daniel Hardeman, JumpTube, Recognize the Matrix, Earl Stevens, King KO, Quentin Lassiter, Pugilism Zine, Dark Hado, Bernard, Earl Stevens, Lil Mac, Ted Told Me So. Did Ted really tell you that? That's impressive. Daniel Hardeman. And if I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go. But shout out to you, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you jumping by and listening. Catch you after the fight. Well, I mean, after the fight, maybe the day after. And we'll see you on the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.